The galaxy is burning. Brother fights brother, and treason splits the Imperium of Man. This is the Age of Darkness. Whether you're a warrior of the Legiones Astartes, an adept of the Mechanicum, or just a mere mortal in a universe of madness, you'll find a place here. Welcome to the Remembrancer's Retreat, coming to you from within the depths of the Vengeful Spirit.
Hello and welcome to the Remembrancer's Retreat, a Warhammer 30k, Horus Heresy, and Specialist Games podcast. My name is Jesse. I'm here tonight with Steven and Austin, and we're going to go right into Ryza Part 3. How's everybody doing?
Woo! Pretty good.
Hooray! More Ryza!
Yeah.
God, I'm excited.
More Titans. Oh, I'm glad I got to be on this one.
I'm glad to have you, Steven.
Alrighty, so we're getting right in with creating a Titan Legion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so these are a reprint and an update. You could call them Crusading Legion 2nd Edition, I guess.
Yeah, reprint really doesn't do them justice. It is
the
a better
original,
and newer thing.
Yeah, the original DIY Titan Legions came out in the July of 2019 White Dwarf issue, and it was 4 pages of various. No, actually, just 4. Yeah, 4 pages of rules compared to this now pretty hefty 8, 9, 10, 12.
Yeah, 3 pages of rules compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
A lot
Yeah,
of pages.
9 pages and a ton more stuff in it. Like the Legio traits in the White Dwarf give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Give you 10. This one gives you 16.
Woo,
And
doggy.
it's about that big of a increase for all the other
everything.
sections as well.
Yeah. Well, especially because now we lost just the straight up steal from somebody else. So we kind of
Yes.
had to have new ways to make it work.
And that does make me real sad, I gotta admit, because my favorite of all of the rules that I built for my Legio Fidens, my DIY Legion, was the Steel Solaria's swap any Reaver in a mandatory section with Warhounds, and can't do that anymore. And I know the people that did the other, swap X Titan for Y Titans from the other books are probably a little sad as well. But overall, man, totally worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Totally worth the trade at.
So we're starting on page 92 of Defense of Ryza, creating a Titan Legion. The rules themselves, as far as how to do it, have not changed. You still pick 4 things from either Legion traits, Legion stratagems, or Legion war gear, but you can't take more than 2 of any of them. And I guess, we'll just do what comes naturally and start with Legio traits, right, Austin?
Yeah. So first up for the Legio traits is Dark Reputation, which is actually the same as it was, which is at the end of the movement phase, enemy knight banners within 3 inches of a Titan from this Legio immediately become shaken. That is real good, because knights, generally speaking, want to get up under your shields, so to be within 3 inches of you, to poke at you with various pointy objects. And if a knight is shaken, its weapon skill and ballistic skill suffer. So it'll have a harder time, getting in there with that lance or knight close combat weapon and doing you dirty, which is all to the good.
Yes. It bears noting the distinction between traits, stratagem, and war gear is exactly what you might think it is. Traits is more or less rules built into the Titan. You don't really have to pay for them outside of selecting them over other things. Stratagems you pay stratagem points for, and war gear you pay in actual points. So,
Yep.
moving on. The second Legio trait is Elite Magos. Magos. And this is one of the most maligned, or was one of the most maligned, of the Legio traits out of the Crusading Legion's book. It has been heavily nerfed now. So during the damage control phase, a Titan from this Legio can reroll a single repair dice, and the second roll must be accepted even if it is worse than the first. Compared to the original Elite Magos, this Legio's Titans can reroll an extra repair die during the damage control phase, in addition to those indicated by their servitor clades. In addition, Titans feel that as part of this Legio may add 2 to the command checks when attempting to undergo emergency repair orders. And boy howdy does this... The original publication, which I'm just going to call first edition from now on, the first edition of these rules, Elite Magos was almost an auto take.
Yeah, you had to love your fluff a lot to not take Elite Magos, and I think the other... it was hard not to, even from a fluff position, right? Because who doesn't want their DIY Legio to have better Magos than people, right? You're putting in the effort to be super cool and unique enough to need your own rules. Of course you're going to have Elite Magos fixing your Titans.
Yeah, a lot of people's fluff, as far as I saw, where, their Legios were relatively small. So to kind of justify how many Titans they physically owned as players. Mm-hmm. So having a smaller but more hardened core of Magi was fluffy. So you could justify Elite Magos almost any way you wanted.
And real good. And now it's not bad, right?
It's not terrible.
Re-rolling a repair die is still really good.
Yeah.
Because how many times do you not reignite any shields or any number of bad things that are fixed with a repair die roll?
I mean, half the rolls of a D6 you can't even use to do anything. Mm-hmm. So just being able to reroll one is nice.
Yeah. So it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination.
I like it more this way, not only from that Reaver rolling, 4 Servitor Clades is pretty rough, but also it makes you feel better about not taking it. If you're building a Legio and you're looking at all the other defensive traits and you're like, well, I don't have to take Elite Magos because there's other stuff in here that'll keep me active and running just as easily.
Yep. And
so
it did hurt a little bit when I was doing my list for Adepticon. God rest that list soul. It'll never get used. It was kind of hard. And they came out, not a hard ban on Elite Magos or anything, but they were like, look, some of these in the version 1, first edition, are just real good. And we're not saying don't take those, but don't come in here with a Titan Legio that happens to have all 4 of the really good ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a well-deserved retweaking to the second edition. And, now if you are a guy who said, yeah, I had a super tiny Legion. The Magos are really elite. We're an elite Legion. You can take the rule that fits your fluff without feeling bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
So next on the list is one that my Legio of old took. Engines of War, which is, I believe, unchanged.
Yeah.
But there is a little more writing in it, but I can't figure out. I think they've just sort of clarified the initial insert, which is essentially, hey, choose a class of Titan, Warlord, Reaver, Warhound. This Legion may always substitute one of the mandatory Titans in a mana pool with a Titan of this type. The Titan only benefits from rules that represents Titans. So if you've got a rule that says, hey, all Reavers in your mana pool get X, and you've swapped that Reaver out for a Warlord, the Warlord doesn't get X. But if the mana pool rule is all Titans in this mana pool get X, your swapped one would benefit. I'm still a little bummed about not being able to swap all the mandatory of one for another. But I guess it's a way to make the bespoke legions unique, right? Because they're the only ones now.
Yeah,
Can,
they're
they
the only
can
ones
do
that can
something
do it.
like that.
I'm not
And this-
wild about it. I would have liked Engines of War to be more than one Titan. Would have been nice.
Yeah, so there are generally two ways that this is done, I guess, in Titanicus, which is for the Legios that have rules, it's swap out all of X for all of Y. So, you can swap out your Reavers for Warhounds, but you can't swap out Warlords for Warhounds. Or it's you can always swap out any given Titan in a maniple for whatever
For your
engine-
favored Titan.
Yeah, whatever engine your Legio is known for.
Yeah.
I mean, in a perfect world, I would see both. But I'm not, as much as I kind of sound, I hear myself, I sound sad. I'm not sad that this is the one they went for. Because there are a lot of maniples now.
Yeah, you can find just about any combination you want exists now.
Yeah, like, can I take my Corsair maniple with 3 Warhounds, Tokyo drifting all over the place, to the horror of my friends and enemies alike? Not with a DIY Legio, I can't. But I can still shove a Warlord in unexpected places, and that's fun.
So what's interesting here to me, actually, in Engines of War, is in the original publication, it says, choose a class of Titan, and then in parentheses, e.g. Warlord, Reaver. In the second edition, it
that's
says,
the difference.
choose a class of Titan from the following list: Warlord, Reaver, Warhound, which means that Warbringers are exempt from this, and the any future Titans that they put out. So no Psi Titans, and that Rapier class Titan that is theorized right now won't be included in that.
Or the Don John.
Yeah.
Or the Don John assault thing.
Rest assured, I'm going to have one.
I actually noticed this too. Yeah. I actually noticed this too. They deleted one of the traits as well. Deep War Vaults is no longer available. And what that was if one of the Titan Legion's Titans is destroyed without having scored any hits on an enemy Titan, it is worth no victory points.
Yeah, and that one, I understand why it's gone.
It kind of hurts. It's real painful.
Yeah, without having scored any hits on an enemy unit. Well, it's also, all right, I'm playing the, value cargo or something where it just has to get from point A to point B. You're full striding anyway, like, you're not going to shoot at the enemy. And if it gets killed, it doesn't score your enemy any victory points. Win-win. Or, oh yeah, I've got a Reaver with dual fists. It's going to either get blown up before it gets there or absolutely massacre somebody, and there's no middle ground.
Yep. Perfect
So-
insurance.
Yeah, deep war vaults. Why not?
Yeah. And what I thought about too is, I think engage and destroy is you get more points the sooner you destroy an enemy Titan. And if you blow up the most expensive Titan turn 1, but you have deep war vaults, well, you don't actually get any points.
25 points goes to 0, and
Yep.
your opponent just can't win the game.
Have a nice day.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're all in agreement.
Deep war vaults is good to have gone.
It doesn't seem like a bad one on the face of it, but not sad to see it go.
Yep. Fury of the Fallen, though, is the next Legio trait in here, which I don't think this changed either. Oh, no, it does.
Yeah, it actually
They
got a little
added
better.
something.
Got
Yeah.
a little better.
So when one of the Titan's legions is activated in the combat phase, this is the second edition rules, it can fire each of its active weapons twice. After the Titan has completed its shooting, immediately roll on the catastrophic damage table and apply the result. In addition, add 1 to all armor rolls for attacks made by friendly Titans if a Titan from this Legio has suffered catastrophic damage that round. So Fury of the Fallen, right off the bat, gets better in a way that you don't have to sacrifice a Titan in order to even make it worth taking.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody dies, then everybody's re-rolling ones. No, add 1
Adding 1.
to all the armor rolls made by friendly Titans the turn that it died.
Yeah,
I mean, the firing twice with everything has remained unchanged.
but if you've got that redlining Warhound, like
You
it's
may as
in
well
the
go
red,
for it.
You goofed. It's gonna be dead either way. Why not?
Yeah. So this does feel like a better one to take now, and that you don't just have to suicide bomb your Titan in order to justify taking it. Which is really what the first edition's issues, I think, was the biggest issue in it, is that some things were so blatantly better than the others that almost every DIY Legio was the same 5 or 6 things with different fluff justification.
Yeah, you could probably guess at least one, if not 2 or 3
Yeah.
of your opponent's
Yeah.
DIY.
But second edition feels way more like versatile, a little more, way better
Balanced?
balanced. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's always
imagine
something,
that.
and it's weird, and yeah, there'll be a lot less duplicate Legios this go round.
Which
Yep.
is cool.
Yep.
So next one we have is a Gunnery Command. See, I'm playing too, guys.
Okay. We're happy to have on. Let's do it.
All
Yeah.
right.
Let's party.
Titans fielded as part of this Legio add 2 to the result of any command checks made when issuing a first fire or split fire order.
There are a lot of new things in Ryza that not necessarily, encourage using first fire and split fire. So having the extra +2 to that is real nice, especially if you're using that new Exterminus maniple. Just everyone's passing, everyone's blowing you up.
Yep, especially now that there's so many more things that'll screw with your leadership.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true too.
It's not even to guarantee it that makes it good. It's that, hey, you might be -1 or 2 to your command check when you make it to begin with.
Yep.
But yeah, unchanged from first edition, and rightly so, I think.
It's a good
solid one. Next up is Loki of the Cause. During the strategy phase, allied Knight Banners add 2 to the result of any command check when issuing an order that has already been successfully issued to one or more of the Legio's Titans.
Boy, I slept on that, but that's good.
Yeah, like that doesn't seem great, but if you're taking a Dominus Maniple and have some Knights around anyway, or like I feel a lot of people do, you have a trio of Knights or a couple of tiny banners just, to make points, fill in the numbers. Adding +2 to their command checks is great. Because Knights are fantastic at a lot of things. They aren't good at listening to directions. So yeah, man, anything that helps with that.
Well, so this is actually pretty cool for people who play Knight Houses. Because now you can bring a support Titan or 5 to a Knight House army, and if you happen to have Loci of the Cause, then as long as one of those 2 Titans is doing something that you can enjoy having your Knights do, now it's useful. They're like a nice little command hub you can buy for your Knight House.
Yeah, you're giving up a lot of strats to do it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, what are strats when you can successfully get charge orders off?
That's true, but I gotta say, after playing Dave's Night House, I had 2 stratagem points. It was atrocious.
Life is hard.
It is.
We've all got our problems.
Right? So yeah, if you like having Knights and Titans on the field at the same time, this is a very solid one.
Yep. The next one is one that I use a lot for Legio Metallica. It's unchanged from first edition. It is Motive Mastery. Titans fielded as part of this Legio add +2 to the result of any command checks when issuing charge or full stride orders. And it kind of is niche, right? Like charge, the only people who are going to be banking on Motive Mastery for its charge benefit are people like me who've built melee maniples. But almost everybody can benefit from a free full charge, or from a free full stride. Not free, but like much more reliable. I like it. I use it all the time.
Pretty solid. So next up we have Plaything of the Gods, which I will say I do like the flavor text on this one. Malign powers have taken an interest in the Legio, and their princeps are no longer completely human. Their mutated forms merge with the machinery itself. Basically, chaosified stuff.
Fuck, it's cool.
This trait can only be taken by a traitor Legio. When a friendly Titan from this Legio is activated in the strategy phase, roll a d6. On a 4-up, it recovers a point of structure in a location of the controlling player's choice, lost earlier in the battle. This cannot recover a point of structure on a location that has suffered critical damage. If a natural 6 is rolled, the Titan can repair a single point of critical damage instead on a location of the controlling player's choice. The fact that you can choose where to heal is pretty significant.
It's so good.
Austin was using it in our last game, and it pays for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Real
so
quick.
This is the second one of Legio Fiden's version 2. And I took it because before, for stratagems, you just stole a stratagem, and you could either take one of the Legio stratagems at cost or any other stratagem for one cheaper stratagem point. And I had living armor because my fluff is green mechanicum, and we got some biological stuff going on. Not so much chaosified as just weird.
And the fact that you don't pay really anything for it. Like, you don't cost
you
any
just do
turn
it.
or anything.
Yeah,
and it's just
no
a
strats,
natural.
it just happens. It's only a 4-up, and it's generally just going to be 1 point of damage, which,
But still, as a
when-
free mechanic for your turn,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
yeah, like when warlords are beating you, 1 point doesn't matter so much. But when it's reavers or warhounds, like, that's the point that could be life or death, Hell,
Well,
even
yeah.
a bellicosa, right? Like, that
being
healed
able
point,
to fix the crits too.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it's only on a 6, but hey, man, a 6 is not 0 chance.
I've rolled 6s before.
Me too.
Yeah, it's happened.
Every now and then.
So yeah, I use that to replace living armor, which is still a perfectly valid stratagem. So if you want to be super respawny, heal yourself, this is what you use. This is 3 strat. Player chooses one of their Titans and a location on the Titan that has suffered structural damage. You then roll a d10. If it's equal or higher to the amount of structural damage suffered, then all damage is repaired. Otherwise, there is no effect, but the player may retain this card and play it again next round.
And what's the title of that one?
This
Living
is
armor?
living armor. It's
Oh,
a
okay. Yeah,
it's a stratagem.
Got it, got it.
Tricks and tactics stratagem from I think Shadow and Iron. So that's what
Yes.
I was taking as the respawn mechanic for my Legio. I no longer can, but am very, very happy with Plaything of the Gods. It's not as
well. Plus, it's just fluffy.
yeah, like, and this is more what I was thinking anyway, that it would be kind of a, it's not an instant, bam, everything's fixed. It's just that continuous, slow repair of damage.
And it's all the Titans in Legio too. It's not like just a
Yeah,
single
it's not just one, it's everybody.
which is
so-
really
And it keeps
damn
you
good.
over the
it
course
keeps
of
you
a
on your
game,
toes.
over the course of a game, it's probably getting you at least as many structure points back as living armor would.
Yeah.
And then, of
And I
course,
think
if you take
it-
living armor,
Oh boy, I don't particularly like living armor. I don't feel like it's I don't enjoy the fact that it's in the game. But Plaything of the Gods feels way more like steady. I guess it feels like a better way to get structure points back than living armor is.
it certainly hurts less if you're the opponent, right?
Yeah.
Because living armor, yeah, it's a little unreliable once a lot of damage starts building up, but I can take a Titan that is giving you +3 armor and anything else will start doing critical hits to absolutely fine
Yeah.
in a strategy phase. Whereas Plaything of the Gods is never going to out and out save you in the moment. You'll only look back, a turn or two later and be like, damn, if I hadn't healed that structure point, I'd be exploded right now.
So it bears noting that every trait that we're reading now is new to second edition. First edition has 2 other traits that no longer exist, which is Splinter Legio and Survivors. Both of those have been removed.
Get out of here.
Yep, just shown the door, bum rush.
Yep.
Splinter Legio being choose a Legio trait from any other Legion, but then flip the allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
And then Survivors is the game.
When you can choose to end the game at turn.
Yeah, you can choose to
four.
end the game turn 4, which is, ugh.
Yeah, I mean it was real good.
It's as rude as Deep War Vaults was.
Yeah, not gonna win you every game, but certainly can win you some, hands down.
It's rough. It's interesting that they actually there aren't any more traits that require you to hurt yourself in order to make them beneficial. So that's nice, because it means that some of these are more you're more likely to take them. No, yeah,
gravy.
it's all gravy. So the next Legio trait is Path of Ascension, or Path to Ascension.
Duty
No,
and
sorry.
Honor.
Yep.
Duty and Honor. Duty and Honor. This is the Loyalist trait, which is why I just immediately, my eyes glazed over and I couldn't see it. This trait may only be taken by a Loyalist Legio. A friendly Titan from this Legio may be issued a different order via the Adaptive Tactics Allegiance ability, once per round instead of once per game. And if I'm not mistaken, Adaptive Tactics, you can change out the order that you have?
Yes, at the end of the damage control phase, a single Loyalist Titan that has been issued an order other than emergency repair can immediately be issued a different order, except for emergency repair, without the need to make a command check. And it can be real good.
Especially good when you can do it once per round instead of once per game.
Yeah, also, it works for squadrons, right? So if you
Right.
give one Titan in a squadron, you can swap all of their orders out for whatever your new order is. Yeah, and once per turn, that's whew. Duty and honor indeed, sir.
Definitely keep your opponent on their toes.
Yeah, you can never trust them.
You know what? Yeah, blast them all. That's fine.
Well,
Shoot them all!
I mean, think about it. You can go first fire, right? And so you spend some time running away from the enemy who's first fired, and you actually get out of their way, and he goes, all right, well, I'll just change that order to full stride, I guess, and get a turn of movement in the shooting phase since I can't hit anything. You know, there are a lot of good options there.
Yeah, real good, real sneaky stuff. Which you wouldn't think of Titans as sneaky, but here we are.
You're loyalists, but here we are.
Seasoned Princeps can definitely make use of that one, that's for sure.
Yep.
So next is Path to Ascension. This trait may only be taken by a Black Shield Legio, which we're all very excited about. Titans from this Legio may reroll failed command checks provided they are within 12 inches of two or more other friendly Titans from this Legio. In addition, Titans from this Legio can share shields with friendly Titans from this Legio that are currently under the effects of Shutdown Order as if they were in the same squadron. This one is interesting.
Yeah, it seems like you need to have like a football playbook for this one.
You definitely got to coordinate.
And you'll find, listeners, that this is kind of a theme for Black Shield Legios, is that they're working, like they require other Black Shield Legio Titans to get the full effect out of something, which is interesting, right? Because it's that bond of brotherhood rather than the higher cause that's putting them together. So I like it from a fluff perspective. Reroll command checks provided they're within 12 inches of two or more other Titans from the Legio. You know, this isn't one you play in small points with a bunch of warlords, right? You want 4 or 5 Titans in your list. You want a couple groups to be doing the same in the same general area. But reroll failed command checks, man, that's huge. That's just never going to be bad. The shutdown thing, I mean,
Very situational.
yeah, I rarely shut, like I think I've shut down a Titan like twice.
Willingly, anyway.
Yeah, well, sabotage, right? Like this will fix that problem.
Unless you
Nah,
have like
fucking warp ghosts, man.
unless you really have like a
Warp
rear
ghosts.
Titan that you want protected, and you keep like 2 escorts with them before they get,
Yeah, or you just have a trio of warhounds, right? You've got that war crime squadron of warhounds, and they're re-rolling their command checks.
Yeah.
That's what a group of warhounds is called. A war crime. A war crime of warhounds.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one we have is Noble Lineage. During deployment, before any units have been deployed, Reaver Battle Titans from this Legio can be paired. To do this, choose 2 Reaver Titans from the Legio within your battle group. These do not have to be part of the same maniple, and a battle group can contain 1 or more pairs of Reavers. At the beginning of each round, paired Reaver Titans may be formed into a squadron with each other. These squadrons last until the end of the round. However, paired Reaver Titans in a squadron may not merge Void Shields.
Boy, I like this one a lot.
It just makes a Corsair maniple just so fucking unpleasant.
Yeah, especially once shields start falling and battle lines start merging and you start getting those side shots off. Just, yep, these 2 Reavers, coordinated attack, boom.
Yep, for that bonus damage. It is a shame you can't merge voids, but that would be
horrendous.
Like, that would be amazing.
Oh, you wanna merge voids on Reavers? Play a Fortis maniple. Get out of here.
But like, think about how that Lupercali light maniple works for Warhounds, right? When you're picking the squadrons at the start of each turn, this is really letting you kind of win that activation game. Because not only can you put 2 Reavers together and say, hey, I'm going to issue the same order on 1 die roll, but if you've got 2 Reavers that both need to do something first, you could just stick them in a squadron together for the turn. Hey, I've won activation. Both of my Reavers are doing something now, instead of just one and letting you blow the other one to hell or, get out of whatever other trap I've laid. So yeah, if you're a man that likes him some Reavers,
and
or
I
a
do,
woman that likes her some Reavers, whichever, this is the one for you, I think.
Reaver is a gender-neutral pronoun.
That's true.
And I like that some of these traits are versatile and that you can use them pretty much no matter how you build your maniple. And then some of them, like this one, if you're taking Noble Lineage, you're going hard on Reavers, which is kind of a limited number of maniples that you can use. But it's nice that they reward specific types of play.
Yeah, without like forcing you into it.
Yep. The next one is Towering Exemplar. At the start of each strategy phase, choose a friendly Titan from this Legio that is within 6 inches of a Princeps Signoris from the same Legio. The chosen Titan adds 1 to the result of all command checks they make this round. In addition, they can reroll hit rolls of 1 for the remainder of the round. This, I just mentioned Fortis Maniple earlier, and I just mentioned specific playstyles. This is the Fortis Maniple trait. You put all of your Titans, close together. They're buddy-buddy. And now any Titan that needs to reroll its to do better at command checks has got it.
Everyone fighting over the attention of Senpai.
Yeah, it's the Senpai Notice Me trait. This one is real good for maniples that, really the heavy maniples, ones that won't be fast enough to outpace each other. Again, the Extermagus maniple comes to mind. It's nice that if you're packing all that extra firepower, you may as well be able to use it more accurately too.
See, and I was going kind of the other way with it, to be perfectly honest with you. Because I thought to myself, man, my Princeps Signoris, for the longest time, was in a Warhound. And that Warhound tended to have a couple of other Warhounds around it. And that seems real fun, too. Because you can have your Princeps Signoris with a Warhound, running along. Her buddy hound is using the Princeps Signoris command. That's no big deal. And then that other pair of Warhounds that you have, because let's face it, Warhounds are amazing, and you should try to get 4 in every list you bring.
Lord.
You pick one of those, it suddenly gets a little bump to its command check, which means give them the same order. 2 Titans are now benefiting. And can reroll hits of 1 with that lovely, lovely Mega Bolter, or, more importantly, your Overcharged Plasma. Something for everyone. Truly a gift.
Yeah, it is nice. It's a nice one.
Yep. So next on our list is Blood Fueled. Titans from this Legio armed with one or more weapons with the melee trait increase their weapon skill by 1 and decrease their ballistic skill by 1. In addition, once per round, each Titan from this Legio can add 1 to the dice value of a smash attack or an attack with a weapon with the melee trait as part of the charge order, in addition to any dice added as part of the order. Yeah, you know, Steven likes this one. He likes being blood-fueled.
I actually don't like this one.
What? No.
I think Bloodfield is noob bait. So I did take this on my second iteration of Legio Metallica, which, you know, is all Reavers with fists and chain weapons. It's a good time. I'm there to punch stuff. And I saw, oh shit, Bloodfield. Everybody gets an extra attack and they get an extra point of weapon skill. No brainer. Taking it. And I took it and I played it. And Bloodfield is actively detrimental because
Reduces your ballistic skill.
it reduces your ballistic skill by 1, which I was thinking to myself, that's not going to be that big of a deal. I almost hit nothing the entire game with my guns. The Reaver had a ballistic skill of 5 after I took Bloodfield.
That's 1 in 3. That's not great.
It's not great. Not when you've got laser blasters and rockets. It was just, I was relying on volume of fire and I still wasn't getting it. Mm-hmm. To say nothing of when Austin was in cover. It was rough, but I thought that's okay. When I get into combat, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to tear his head off with my power fist. It's going to be so much fun. I got +1 to weapon skill. And then I looked at my power fist and my chain fist and realized that they add 2 to the accuracy roll.
Yeah. Sweet. All the time. Hitting all the time.
Yes, the weapon skill.
You get that sweet +3.
Yeah, the weapon skill benefit of Bloodfield. You are probably already taking a melee weapon, which is already increasing your weapon skill.
And I'm assuming a roll of 1 always still naturally misses, right?
And a roll of 1 still always naturally misses, correct.
So they were hitting on 2s with the chain fist and power fist, or is it hitting on 3s?
They were hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have a 4-up weapon skill and a 4-up ballistic skill with a power fist or chain fist. They went to 2-up weapon skill.
So already maxed out. Yep. Interesting.
So Bloodfield is for smashing. Bloodfield is for making smash attacks and making sure that they hit.
So, Stephen, I just noticed something that I don't think we noticed when we played.
What's that?
Titans from this Legio, armed with 1 or more weapons with the melee trait, increase their weapon skill by 1.
Uh-huh.
They're not increasing the melee weapon by 1. They're increasing everything by 1.
Right.
But
so your Gatling blaster...
No, but your ballistic skill, though, that overrides your weapon skill,
doesn't matter. You use your weapon skill when you're within 2 inches. Everything uses the weapon skill within 2 inches. We got trapped by our 30K, 40K mindset, and I just realized
that.
Yeah, it's not there to help your power fist.
You guys are witnessing
as you were talking about it, I was like, he's right. That is a dumb rule. They've had so many good rules. What? And then it clicked.
Yeah,
you're right. You're not going to hit shit at range, but you get up close, and suddenly that Gatling blaster or plasma annihilator or whatever you have. It's still good.
My God, he's right.
It's by God. Yeah. And, I mean, some of those weapons already give you accuracy increases once you're within that distance, right?
Wait.
Yeah,
but
it's
hang on.
never
Before we get too far, armed with 1 or more weapons with... Oh, I see. So you don't necessarily have to fire with that weapon.
Yeah, you need to have the melee weapon to get the weapon skill bonus, but the weapon skill bonus applies to everything.
Right, okay.
Useful. So it's
Good call, Austin. Good call.
Yeah, that's a good find, because this actually takes it from being like straight up bad to being a really good executioner tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because once you're that close, you can start calling your shots into a location that's already been gutted by a power fist. So you just stick your Gatling blaster in there and go hard in the paint and finish him off.
And you know what the negative to calling shots within 2 inches is, Stephen?
What's that?
It's a -1. So
Yeah, you can just negate it.
For free.
All right,
With your Gatling
Bloodfield.
blaster or whatever you've got.
All right, see, this is why we have these episodes.
It really is.
Damn.
And
Sit down
again,
and talk it out.
This was not like me waiting with my special surprise for your rant to be over, Steve. I'm sorry. Literally, you'd done such a convincing argument that I was like, but none of these other ones are bad. There's got to be something going on. Found it.
Right.
You're welcome, listeners.
Dawn of Revelation. Right
Did
here
it
on the
for
Remember
you.
and
So
Serve Retreat.
Metallica's getting at least one more go with this, I guess.
Maybe I might. I don't know. It's kind of hard against you because you use so many Warhounds that once I'm there, I can't get the rockets down where I need them. Holy shit, fusion rockets! Oh my god. Okay. All right.
All right.
All right,
Back on
we'll
the
get
track.
there. We'll get there.
So
Okay,
I'll bring us on to unless we
Well,
have
the
anything
additional
else.
thing. There's one more thing
Shall
for
we go
Bloodfield.
forward to glory? All right.
Hang on, he
There's
wants-
one more thing for Bloodfield, you Bloodfield maniacs. In addition, once per round, each Titan from this Legio can add 1 to the dice value of a smash attack or an attack with a weapon with the melee trait as part of a charge order, in addition to any other dice. Right, so you get +1 attack for charging. You're a world leader now.
Hooray!
Yay! Which is good. It's nice when you get that 1 extra hit with the Power Fist to just knock a Warhound's block off.
Yeah, I mean, and how many times do you miss with everything, or you were 1 point of damage short?
Too many. Too many
Now
is the
that'll
answer.
happen less.
Yay! Now you can go forwards to glory. Who? Oh, is that me actually?
No, I think it's me.
Okay, go on.
Forwards to glory. Titans from this Legio add 1 to the result of all command checks made when they are within 8 inches of an enemy Titan. If they are within 8 inches of an enemy Titan with a scale at least 3 greater than their own, they can instead be issued orders without the need to make a command check.
Ooh, Lord. If you've ever been frustrated by Warhounds at your heels, this isn't going to help. This is going to make it so much worse.
You'll start to realize how quickly 8 inches can be.
Yeah, 8 inches is
Yeah,
relatively...
I played fantasy back in the day. I know that that's a good range for charging.
That's pretty significant.
Yep. It's rough. Strong.
Yet another
sensual.
Yet another reason I'm sad I can't just swap out everything for Warhounds and a DIY Legio, man, I tell you.
Womp womp. They
But
take
the
it. They
fact-
giveth and they taketh away.
Exactly. They took those things away so they could do things like this, which is just awesome.
It's. I love the fluff to it. Is really what it is. It's just such a cool, fluffy thing for
what is
Titans that want to go. It's just the Legio espouses direct warfare, constantly pushing forwards to apply pressure on their foe, and excelling at close quarters fighting, such as that seen within the confines of a city.
You know that's how I like to do it.
Hot dogs. Just
Hot
You're
and
never-
angry dogs.
you're never getting away from them.
More like warm hounds, am I right?
Boo! No, we like hot dogs better. Stop. Make the bad man stop.
Of course, if you do this and blood fueled, then you've got corn dogs.
Oh my god. Why are you like this?
Can't stop, won't stop.
Moving on. Vanguard Fighters is the next one. Another one that benefits dogs of both warm, hot, and corn variety. Titans from this Legio with a scale of 7 or less add 1 to all hit rolls and can be issued full stride and first fire orders without the need to make a command check while there is no friendly Titan from any Legio within 6 inches of them.
Some lonely dogs.
This is a dangerous one.
This is the lone wolf hound.
This one, yeah, because man, I run Warhounds on their own fairly consistently, and that's never a long-lived puppy. But I also don't run them in Lupercali light maniples, or at least hadn't until these new Legio rules because Corsair was my
Well, so here's what
choice.
I'm thinking, right?
But
You don't necessarily have to keep your hounds close together, right? Like,
yeah,
take a warlord, right? It's got a pretty big base. You could stick both hounds behind it and still outside of 6 inches of each other.
you can. The danger though is you're not sharing voids, and if you're not sharing voids,
It's the bread and
warhounds
butter
just
of a
don't
warhound.
have a lot of voids. Like,
Sounds
Like
like
you lose-
coward talk.
you lose one shield, congratulations, you're at 4 up. You've
All
lost
these-
3 shields, congratulations, you have no shields.
All these warhounds spread out. They're more like chili dogs. Because they're cold, because they're by themselves.
How many warhound puns can we fit in one episode?
We're about to
We're
find
not
out.
even a quarter of the way done yet. So this next one, Jesus.
We are pioneering new Titanicus slang right
God
now.
help us all. So the next one we've got is Masters of Defense. Titans from this Legio can move at full speed when backing up, as opposed to the normal way where it takes 2 inches of your listed move to go an inch backwards. In addition, when a Titan from this Legio is attacked as part of a charge order, it may immediately move backwards up to 3 inches and make a single weapon attack at the unit that attacked them. If they do this, increase the Titan's reactor level by 1. Each Titan can only do this once per round. This move and attack is resolved after the effects of the charge order and the subsequent attack have been resolved. So somebody charges you, they bop you over the head with their chain fist, and then you can increase your reactor level by 1, back up out of melee range, shoot them once, and go on with your day. Moving at full speed when backing up, I originally thought this was kind of a bummer, that part of it. But then I got to thinking that, like, say you've got that warhound that's trying to run all the way behind somebody, get across the board for whatever objective you're playing that requires you to do that. Once you hit that halfway point, you can just spin all the way around. And instead of, the Titan that's chasing you being able to pop shots into your back, they're hitting you in the front. And that's not the end of the world. However, I gotta say, the backing up as a response to a charge is a big kid move, right? A warhound that gets punched in the head or anywhere with 4 power fist attacks because it's been charged is unlikely to live long enough to increase its reactor by 1 and back up. However, if that, chain fist reaver just ran up to your warlord and punched it in the gut, your warlord backs up, gives it a dose of plasma annihilator, and then it's just sitting there for another turn before it can really get at you.
So you do have to be careful with Master of Defense, because a smart player who charges you is going to focus that first attack into one of your weapons, and probably the most dangerous weapon you have on your chassis.
Look, if you're disabling my weapon with your charge order, that's a win in my book.
Well, I mean, it's better than getting your head knocked off, but
Or
you did heat up your
leg's
reactor.
broken, or
yeah,
but if you're a warlord, what?
no. You know what you call a warhound using Master of Defense? A weenie dog.
There he is. He's coming around.
There we go. Proud of you, Steven. Proud of you.
The pain!
One of us.
all right.
One of us.
That actually clears up all of the Legio traits. Mm-hmm. So,
On to-
Legio-specific stratagems.
Yeah.
Do we want to take
Yeah.
a break first?
We'll take a break and we'll be right back after these messages.
Woo!
Thanks for listening to another podcast from the Remembrancers Retreat. If you enjoyed this episode, consider leaving a rating on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. You can also find our swag store at teespring.com/stores/RR30K podcast. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at RR30K podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Remembrancers_retreat. You can also visit our website, rr30k.com, for podcast updates and the Battlefleet Heresy Compendium. You can also leave us a voicemail for us to play on a future podcast at 1-929-437-3791. That's 1-929-HERESY1. And you can also leave us an email at theremembrancersretreat@gmail.com. Thanks again. Would you like a shout out on our podcast? Maybe discounts on our Teespring store? Maybe you'd like to vote for upcoming Heresy grad school topics, hang out in a private Discord server, or maybe even just getting a fun podcast sticker. If you're interested in any of that, consider becoming a patron. Patreon funds help for server costs and allows us to make cool content for you to enjoy. Patronage also helps us pay for projects such as our Nova Open Charitable Foundation Army The Honored, an Ultramarine Zone Mortalis force that will be up for charity raffle coming this year. If you're interested in getting in on the action, consider becoming a patron today at patreon.com/RR30K podcast. Thank you. And as always, we'd like to thank our patrons for the month of August, starting with our Praetor tier, Alex Self, Chris Mack, Joe from Music City Heresy, Gardner.Tree of Woe, Matthew Boyce, Jacob Dillon, Mr. Baldwick, and Nicholas Quenga. Our Legion Centurions, Mark Henry, John Christensen, Angry Boy, Black Label Painting, Andrew N., Scott LeMay, Minis by Applesauce, M. Tanzer, and Queen Corswain. And finally, our Legion Sergeants, Emily O'Hare, Duncan, Travis Smith, Garrett Lowe, Aaron Maynard, and Nicholas Gillen. Thank you all very much for your patronage. And as a side note, for the Nova Open Charitable Foundation, the Army The Honored, our Ultramarine Zone Mortalis force, is available for raffle tickets. So go on over to novaopenfoundation.org. I believe the raffle is at least till mid-September. But get your tickets now and get a chance to win. And there's some really awesome stuff on there, guys. Even if you're not getting the tickets for our army, there are plenty of other things that might catch your eye. So be sure to check out novaopenfoundation.org. And am I speaking into the wind? Or is that everybody?
I think that's everyone.
Hey, Steven's back.
That sounds like right.
I'm here. I've
And
been
Austin.
Yeah. We never left.
I thought you said you wanted to take a break.
That was the break.
Okay, cool.
Here. Yeah, I thought you wanted to do. Yeah.
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 We've just
anyway.
heard these commercial messages, but
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Cornstarch.
Legio-specific stratagems.
Yes.
Part
Yes.
2 of Part 3 of our Defense of Ryza coverage.
these take the place of absolutely nothing and yet absolutely everything from the first edition rules, because the first edition Legio-specific stratagem, War Doctrine, was steal a stratagem from another Titan Legio, pay its points, or steal any stratagem in the game, and it costs a point less than normal to a minimum of 1. Which could be ridiculous.
Yeah, you could do some
living armor
nut stuff.
You don't think people could abuse that?
Which is
could you?
funny because I took living armor and a couple other things I think like Auxilia shield capacitors, the Solaria trait, and I don't remember what my fourth one was. And the guys were like, hey, you've taken shield capacitors and this other thing. Oh, blind missiles. Like, we think that those two, they're both on the good end, and I took them for fluff reasons, but they're like, hey, do you mind if you swap one of these two out for something else? But they didn't care that I was getting living armor for 2 stratagem points, which was so good. And I think it's just one of those things that, nobody can do the math on how much better every stratagem in the game is when you pay 1 less point for it to a minimum of 1.
Yeah. And there are some Legion-specific stratagems that are already 1 point and can be taken multiple times. So...
Yeah, well, you pay full price for the other Legio stratagems.
Right,
but you can also combine them with the crazy free stuff.
Burned ones, the Infernus stratagem that just deletes terrain, is 1 point, and you can take it multiple times.
Yeah, and you take that with a bunch of the DIY Titan rules. It was a placeholder. We all knew it was a placeholder. Well, I knew it was a placeholder the instant I knew that an advanced version of them was being reprinted in Ryza.
You're just buying time at that point.
At all. Yeah. Don't miss them in the slightest. These are all just good and interesting and fun. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Yeah. Starting off with Legio-specific
so
stratagems.
The first one is Marked Prey. And this is 3 points. Play this stratagem at the start of any round. choose an enemy Titan to be marked. For the remainder of the battle, all friendly Titans from this Crusade Legio add +1 to hit rolls and armor rolls made against the marked Titan.
Ooh.
Hot and also damn.
Yeah,
3 points is expensive, but definitely worth it.
I mean, just Jesus. If you're trying, like, there are games where it's, hey, pick one specific enemy Titan, kill it as quickly as possible.
Round
Your
one.
Crusading
that
Legio looks at that and says, okay, marked prey annihilates the enemy. Even though it says play at the start of any round, I don't understand why you wouldn't do it the first round. But yeah.
Well, you
other
might
than
want
that,
to,
It's brilliant, right? +1 to hit and +1 to armor rolls. What's not to like?
Could be a point where you're midway through the game and you know that that Titan's about to just wail on you, so you need to pull at that point, make sure it goes down before it gets a chance to fire, I guess.
Well, I'm thinking precious cargo. Once you know who's got the cargo, you can pop marked prey on them and then just reduce them to their component atoms. That's what I would use it for anyway, if I wasn't using it turn 1 to just make sure that I'm killing the Princeps Signoris. But it does remind me a lot of Hungry for Glory, except it doesn't go away if someone else shoots at you. Which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, why don't you take the next one?
Sure. Opening salvo. This is coming at 3 stratagem points.
Did you guys just do marked prey?
What?
No. Opening
We
salvo.
did opening salvo.
No, but did you do marked prey already?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Why?
Just making sure. I apparently accidentally both muted you guys and myself.
Oh.
And I just talked through marked prey, just like, looking at the rules, saying how good it was, saying how much I enjoyed it this whole time. And then I paused for comment, and I was like, why are
Crickets.
you guys talking, but I'm not
It sounded
hearing?
pretty organic. There was a point where I was kind of expecting you to say something. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, if you hadn't said anything, no one would have known.
Damn it. Well, Jesse, just edit this out. It'll
Nope,
be fine.
not doing it.
Well, I had
Keeping
to
it
make
in
sure
there.
It's too
be-
far
all
in.
right,
It's
well,
too far in.
fuck it.
Opening salvo at 3 stratagem points.
I'm sorry if I've ruined
It's too
your
late.
opinion of
It's
this
the damage
podcast,
is done.
everybody.
The damage is done.
Ugh.
Opening salvo.
Everything's ruined.
Opening salvo. 3 stratagem points for opening salvo. Count them 3. Play this stratagem during the strategy phase of the first round. All Titans from this Crusade Legio may immediately attack with a single weapon of their choice, as if it was the combat phase. A Titan that attacks in this way must advance their plasma reactor status track by 2 places, in addition to any other advances associated with the weapon's fire. If the player uses this stratagem, their opponent automatically becomes the first player for the remainder of the first game round.
Oof. Strong.
Yeah, and very reminiscent of somebody else's Legio trait.
Pregasius and the
Wasn't it Robbie's
whatever the
Legio?
Nova Guard, whatever Nova Guard's
yeah,
high Gothic
Obviously,
name
if
is.
you have some long-ranged, heavy-duty Titans, some Warbringers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
this
combine this with some of the missile fucking that happens
Oh,
later
boy.
on.
If you got a bunch of
Oh,
Warlords
boy.
and Warbringers, this is a pretty damn good one.
Yeah, it's real strong. It's nice that even though they've taken away our ability to steal stuff from other Legios, they've given us a lot of things that heavily mimic what other Legios can do, but still with like Crusade Legio twists.
Yeah, they really did do an amazing job with making these interesting and not feel like they're stealing too much from you, especially considering what they're given. Some
Yeah.
good stuff in here.
And again, the Extermigus Maniple comes right to mind with opening salvo, because that's a lot of volcano cannons. That's a lot of rockets.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The next one is called Blistering March and is another 3-pointer. And I like Blistering March a lot. This one is going to
Do I
feature...
not get one now? You mute me once?
You went with Marked Prey, and then Jesse did opening salvo. We're taking turns, Austin.
Of course I did marked prey.
Blistering March is one that I'm going to end up using in Metallica version 2. Play this stratagem during any combat phase. For the remainder of the phase, any Titan from this Crusade Legio with the full stride order may fire one weapon during their activation. If it does so, increase the reactor status level by 1, in addition to any other advances associated with weapons fire. So it's not quite opening salvo, but it does keep you moving and firing, which is real nice. You combine it with Motive Mastery so that you are almost guaranteed to get the full stride order off, and then you just start running and firing anything you want, really. We'll go over what I'm going to use it for later. I tell you what.
I like it because it goes off in the combat phase, right? So you've already passed your full stride order when you're paying the points for it. Because otherwise, like if it was played at the start of the strategy phase, great, I did it. All right, I'm going to have my Princeps Senioris do full stride on a 2. It's a 1. We're done. Oh,
no.
But for this, you already have the Titans out and running. And then you just shoot with them. And for 1 point of heat, worth it. Eternally worth it.
Maybe not so much on Hounds because they're so heat hungry anyway. But definitely on Reavers.
I would absolutely, like if I didn't have so many other things that I wanted that made more like fluff sense for my Legio, I would take this. Because even with Hounds, man, like a point of heat, that sucks. And you're probably going to have another point of heat because you always go for a little extra speed the first time you full stride. But, like, sometimes you got to risk it for the W.
Your mileage may vary.
Right?
Yeah.
And be a lot shorter and end in a thermonuclear crater than others.
You know, that happens sometimes. It's just the way it is.
It be like that.
It do. So the next one on our list is Fueled by Hatred, also 3 points. Play this stratagem when a friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio that is issued with a charge order destroys an enemy unit in the movement phase due to a melee weapon or smash attack made as part of the order. They may immediately make a new charge move. The Titan can make a single turn before moving as part of this second charge move and can move no more than 5 inches doing it or during it. Remember how we've talked about all those lovely Legio traits for Titans that like to be real close to other Titans?
This is it. This is the counter.
This is that thing they don't want you to do.
Princeps hate this single new trick.
This man is fueled by hatred. Find out why Princeps hate him.
Yeah. It is a little hard to bring off, but like Blistering March, you've already done the prerequisites when you're actually putting the card on the table and spending the points and losing it, right? Like, you have to have killed somebody and then play the card. Beautiful. Maybe, there's a lovely juicy warlord hiding behind a screen of 3 Questoris Knights. I've done it a lot. And then your Reaver comes in, has to hit those Knights because they're blocking the way, power fists every single one of those Knights to death, and normally it would just be sitting there, waiting for the inevitable Bellicosa. Yep. No longer, sirs. No longer.
Reaver don't give a care.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at and thinking, it might be a little hard to pull off against other Titans, but against Knights, charge in, smash a few, lay down fueled by hatred, charge again, smash the rest. There is no way that banner is getting away from you.
Yeah. Or, you come up and you've punched that warlord and you didn't kill it, but, you were under some of its guns and too close for Bellicosa, so you lived. Charge again, finish it off, and then move on to his buddy. And it's a charge move, right? It doesn't say you have to necessarily get another Titan with that second charge, right?
It's true.
Yeah, they just make a charge move.
Yeah, so if you charge somebody and, you're in that dead zone in the middle of the battlefield, begging for death now that you've killed the guy, you can say, you know what? I'm going to use Fueled by Hatred. I'm going to sidestep behind that building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Or
great
you can
line-breaker
charge another
strategy.
building and break it down to get the guy behind it.
You can.
Yeah.
Infinite uses.
Force those
Well-
Porphyrians to move.
Really just the 4 or 5 uses, but a lot of good uses for it. I
Yeah,
like it a lot.
infinite so long as you have hands.
All right. On to Target Lock. This is also for 3 stratagem points. Play this stratagem when activating a Titan from this Crusade Legio in the combat phase. Choose an enemy unit within 12 inches of the activating Titan. For the remainder of the phase, any attacks made against the chosen enemy unit suffer no penalties to their hit rolls for obscured line of sight or for making targeted attacks. This counts as the activating Titan's activation for this phase. If the activated Titan is destroyed before the end of the phase, this stratagem has no effect for the remainder of the phase.
It's a little situational. What I actually would like to see this being done with is with the, I think it's the Arcus, but it's the Hounds and the Warbringer.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you can target lock somebody, and now that Warbringer suffers no penalties at all for dropping a Bellicosa cannon directly onto somebody's head.
All right. So hear me out here. This is a great one if you've taken losing my mind. Engines of War to swap something out with a single Warhound. Because get you Extergimus Battle Line Maniple, whole bunch of Warlords, real unpleasant, and then get you a Warhound. And that Warhound just runs up to somebody, does this, and all his big brothers and sisters just beat the living hell out of it.
Just hope it doesn't have a critical meltdown while that Warhound is standing too close.
I mean, you can be 12 inches away. Theoretically, you could live. Of course, there's no pre-measuring in this game, so, you know.
I've fired enough bolters and over 12 inches is.
One can only hope.
Yeah, it's kind of expensive for what it does. I would prefer that to be a 2-pointer.
It is a little pricey, but no penalties for targeted attacks is real brutal.
Yeah. Well, I like this next one, Enduring Gods, which is a 2-pointer. The first 2-pointer. Play this stratagem during any strategy phase. Any Titan from this Crusade Legio may immediately be issued an emergency repair order without the need to make a command check. After all repair rolls have been resolved, make a command check for any Titan issued an order in this way. If the check is successful, discard the order. After the effects of this stratagem have been resolved, the player may issue no more orders for the remainder of this round. The losing out on orders for the remainder of the round is a bit hurtful.
It's a bummer.
Yes.
Especially
But-
because you play strats first and then orders.
But, I mean, being able to suddenly do a repair order for everybody and then have a pretty decent chance of them continuing to go and fight and punch and kill is real nice.
It is real good. Because sometimes, you know, you're mid-late game, a bunch of Titans have taken damage. You're probably going to have times where you want 2, 3 of your Titans to do emergency repairs and are thinking to yourself, but shit, I also really need them to both move and shoot somebody this turn, so I guess we're just going to suck it up and die. No longer.
Yeah.
This
And
is
you can
pretty good.
combine this with some other things, some other repair phase shenanigans. You could go Elite Magos to be able to re-roll one of those die on each of those Titans. You know, maybe you need an extra shield or an extra point of heat to cool down. If you're playing with stratagems out of Crusade, Shadow and Iron, you can go with Elite or Martian Servitor Clades. So maybe one of those Titans that is now doing the repair roll has an extra 1 or 2 die to throw at repairs, making sure that criticals are in good shape, Weapons are ready for when it's time to go kill something. It's real nice. It can be a real quick flip.
Now, can regular Legios take these as well, or just specifically the
Nope,
custom
these
builds?
are all Crusading Legios.
Yeah, get out of here, you fancy named legions.
Yeah, you get enough fancy things. Let the vanilla guys have something.
Yeah. And we do, and it is glorious.
Yes.
So, reactionary fire, another 2-pointer. Play this stratagem during any movement phase when an enemy Titan issued with a charge order is activated. A friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio that has not been activated this phase may immediately attack with one of its weapons, or 2 if the chosen Titan is issued with the first fire order. The attacks must be made against the activated enemy Titan and counts as the chosen Titan's activation for that phase. I really like this one.
Titan Overwatch!
Yeah, Titan
Effectively.
Overwatch. Like this I think is one that you actually play to, rather than kind of using as it comes along. Because if there's, Steven's Reaver right in front of my Warlord, he and I both know what's happening next turn, right? There's a Power Fist on that Reaver. It's going to charge me. So I just give my Warlord first fire. And Steven thinks, aha, I will win the activation, and I will get in there first, and I will punch him unto death. And then I use reactionary fire, and the double plasma annihilators come down. And oh Lord, do they come down.
Their fury is it hurts. It hurts a lot.
But I mean, even a little Warhound, right? If you catch a Warhound in charge range and it does this, like, is a Reaver really going to be happy to catch a short range Mega Bolter and plasma to the face? No. Especially since it happens before the Titan charges.
Now, I like this. This is why I like it more than, what is it? The one where you back up. Masters of Defense. Because it happens before the charge goes off. So you have a good chance of just, shotgun blasting somebody's hip or knee joint out and making sure that you're not going to get charged and beat up by an Ariok.
So hear me out, Steven. Why not both?
¿Por qué no los dos? No reason.
Yeah. Hit him twice as he comes in, and then once afterwards.
Well, actually,
Hooray.
well, during the movement phase. Yeah. What's even better is the fact that you can play it at any point during the movement phase, even after you've fired first fire. So you could hit him once, play reactionary fire, hit him 2 more times.
No. A friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio, that has not been activated this phase.
A girl can dream.
You tried.
Well, it would have been nice to just triple bellicose somebody.
And that's why you gotta take Masters of Defense. Triple bellicosa them. And then bellicosa them again in the shooting phase.
Just for
Take
good
no
measure.
prisoners.
Oh, they might not be dead, but they might wish they were.
Yeah. They've done a lot of interesting things for the assaulty, Power Fist Reavers and Warlords in this book, which I'm really happy about because I do think they suffered a little to more traditional gunline Titans. But it is nice that there's a couple of counters in here for us DIY guys.
Yeah, I would do a DIY Legion before I do Legio Volpa. It's wild.
Oh.
Legio Volpa looks so sad compared to some of these things. Sorry, Legio Volpa.
Moving on. Electromagnetic Overload, coming in at 2 stratagem points. Play this stratagem during any combat phase when activating a friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio that has active Void Shields. Any unit, friend or foe, with active Void Shields within 3 inches of the activated Titan must immediately make a number of save rolls equal to the number of remaining holes on the Titan Void Shield status tracker, as if hit by a weapon with the Shield Bane trait. The activated Titan's Void Shield level then immediately drops to X, and the Titan takes a critical hit to its body. This counts as the Titan's activation this phase.
Huh. Interesting. So you burn out your shields to hit other people with Shieldbane. So what gets me about this is that this is already a stratagem that anybody can take. In Shadow and Iron, desperate measures can be taken, and you have the EMP discharge stratagem, which is slightly different, but largely the same thing. This stratagem can be purchased by any Loyalist player. Play this stratagem during any movement or combat phase. Pick a friendly Titan that has active Void Shields. Every Titan that has active Void Shields within 3 inches of that Titan suffers a number of Strength 4 hits equal to the Void Shield level of that chosen Titan, as if from a Shieldbane weapon. After resolving these hits, the chosen Titan's shield is reduced to X.
How many points is that?
It is 2.
Huh.
Now, the only real difference is that this one can be taken by Black Shields or Traitors, whereas EMP Discharge can only be taken by Loyalists.
Well, EMP Discharge is also strength. Does it need to go against things with active shields?
Every Titan that has active shields within 3 inches suffers. Yeah, so it doesn't even work against people that don't have shields.
Yeah, because I was about to say, it has a strength. Maybe that helps, but no. So yeah, it's just something fun for people who aren't Loyalists, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Kind of weird that it's there.
I mean, not a terrible one, but yeah, a little strange. Or, if you really like it, you can double up. Hooray!
Yeah, that's true. You can take both, although you can't use them both in the same turn, but that's okay. This one hurts a little more because you take the critical hit to the body.
You can do it just with 2 other Titans.
No, you can't. I should say you can't put it on the same Titan to hit him twice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Boy, am I excited to use this next one, though. I had a hard time choosing between stratagems for my Coronate Metallica. This next one is Vindictive in Death. 2 points. Play this stratagem when a friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio suffers catastrophic damage. Do not roll on the catastrophic damage table. Instead, the Titan automatically suffers catastrophic meltdown.
Oh. It's the worst of things.
It's the big red button. Just bam, smash it, detonate. Which there's a couple of, like, when I die, I'm taking everybody with me tactics in Titanicus. So it's nice that the DIY Legios have one that's just the worst thing guaranteed. And for relatively cheap.
Yeah, 2 points is not the end of the world at all.
No.
Yeah, I think maybe Legio Crucius has one called Red in the Skies, and it's the big red button, but the distance and the strength is kind of variable. Mm-hmm. And it's 3 points if I'm not mistaken. So it's nice that Vindictive in Death.
Suck it, real legions.
I want to jam one Fist Reaver straight into the enemy line, and when it goes, make sure it goes good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'll feel so good. Or better yet, full Strider Warlord, just straight in there. It'll be great. It'll be great. We got the biggest explosions. Everybody knows it.
All right. So the next one we have is Austin's turn, I think.
I'm doing this one, but I'm also going to be rude and take the next one because I fucking love it.
All right. Fair enough.
So this is Eye for an Eye, 2 strats. Play this stratagem when a Titan from this Legio is destroyed by the opposing player. Until the end of the round, all friendly Titans from this Crusade Legio can reroll hits of a 1.
Yikes. Yeah. I'm not wild about it.
Like, it's not the end of the world, but my real problem with it is that...
It's 2 points.
Well, it's 2 points, but more that by the time it's happened, like, unless you get unlucky and, you've lost a Titan to a charge or a first fire order, you've probably already done some shooting before it takes effect. Which is a little... it sucks because it makes you feel like you wasted some of your 2 points there. That being said, it is an eye for an eye and real spiteful. So if you're one of those bitter people, this is the one for you.
I think I would like this one more if it was longer than just for the round.
Yeah,
like
until
if for the rest of the
following round, or yeah,
or even if it was for the rest of the game, reroll hits of 1 against the killing Titan.
yeah. This is
That'd make it feel a little more worth it.
spread out. But yeah, I'm not of all the things in this, which are amazing for the most part. This is the only one that I look at and I'm just like, yeah, I can't ever really see myself taking it.
Yeah.
But, dear listeners, if you can think of a reason why, please let us know. But we're not here for an eye, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for Locomotive Override. It is 1 point, and it is amazing.
Baby, do the locomotive override.
Just so. The Legio is known for favoring larger Titans, preferring to lay waste to their foes with heavy firepower. To offset their lack of maneuverability, Princeps of the Legio often override the locomotive failsafes to perform rapid turns far outside acceptable norms, heedless of risk. And they do.
Sir?
Play this stratagem... What? Play this stratagem
It's the
during
other
any
big red
combat
button.
phase. A friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio of scale 9 or 10 may immediately make up to a 180-degree turn. If it does so, it suffers 1 point of critical damage to its legs after resolving the turn.
That's hilarious.
You can flip a bitch with your Warlord. How many times, Stephen, have I gotten two
many.
Warhounds behind you and you've just gone, well, guess I'll die, because you'll never be able to
Yep.
turn around and catch them.
That warlord's dead.
Longer, sir. Yeah, no, not
Yeah.
anymore. Now that warlord goes, ha, suck bellicosas. And that's when you get sad dogs.
Yeah. Oh,
Sad puppies.
Bad puppies.
Yes, and I know what you're thinking, listeners, and that's, I thought Austin liked Warhounds. Why is he so, chortling over this? I do like Warhounds. But the other thing I like is my lone warlord, which in the heady days of DIY-ness was
a
frequently... Yeah, was a Corsair and could do whatever she wanted and be very maneuverable. And I was going to miss that. No longer with Locomotive Override. Just spin that girl around.
Yep.
And I feel that is a very fluffy one if you've got just one big Titan and you favor the little ones. Like it says here, it's from Titan Legios that have all the big Titans for the most part. But I think you could make the same argument if your Legio is practically all Warhounds and only has one or two Warlords. They're going to want to turn really quick because they've been brought up in a Warhound Legio where maneuvering is everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you've got a Warlord, this is a great one because you don't have to guard it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you don't necessarily even have to use it as a defensive measure either. Because say, you don't gain any heat from doing this. You just hurt you twist your ankle a little bit, but that's fixable. And you don't gain any heat.
Especially on a Warlord.
So say, you've run up and you don't really have the heat that you would like in order to crank it for 2 extra turns to turn 90 degrees. Pop Locomotive Override, you can go 90, you can go 100, you have a wide arc of movement to reorient your firing lanes.
Yep, because you're not forced to 180, it's just up to 180.
Mm-hmm. And it's in the combat phase, so it's after you've done your regular movement. Maybe some other target of opportunity has presented itself and you really want to get it. So just, do the twist, unleash rockets, unleash Bellicosa.
Yeah, for 1 point. So good. I love Blistering March too, but man, so good. So good, Locomotive Override.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alrighty. For a single stratagem point, Directed Radburst. Play this stratagem during any movement phase when activating a Titan from this Legio. Increase the activating Titan's reactor status level by 1. Place a 5-inch blast marker on the table, with the central hole anywhere within 2 inches of the activating Titan. This counts as the Titan's activation for that phase. For the remainder of the round, any Titan underneath the blast marker must roll an extra die when making Void Shield saves, while Knight banners count the strength of attacks as one higher for the purposes of working out their Ion Shield saves. At the end of the round, remove the blast marker. This stratagem can be purchased multiple times, however it can only be played once per activation.
Interesting. It's just the radioactive battlefield, but as a stratagem.
Yeah, which is
It's
really interesting.
Super short range, though.
And it will affect the Titan that places it.
And it will affect the Titan that places it, yeah, because the center hole has to be within two inches, and it's a...
Oh.
That was a weird noise.
Doing a little drinking, huh?
Guess I'm just getting old.
Increase activating Titan's status by level. Okay.
The
so you gotta put
goblin
a
that
large-
obsesses over AT is trying to climb out of my throat.
You gotta place a large blast marker within 2 inches of the activating Titan. Extremely short ranged, for sure.
But, you know, if you've got that Warhound that has snuck up on somebody, you can dump this on it.
True.
Or if you're, you know, a warlord with plasma or something and like knights have jumped up on you and you need to scrape them off real quick, this will get it done. And it's only a point. Like, if it was any more than a point, I'd say it wasn't worth really taking at all. But for 1 point, I can find some uses for it.
Yeah. It is nice if you're playing against knights, I will, like you said. Especially if you are one of those people that likes to bubble wrap your opponent's titans in a seething ocean of toddler titans. Then just drop directed rad burst down at your feet, and then let the rest of your mana pool clear out those unruly titans for you.
Yep. Go home, kids.
Yep. Come on, get out of here. Get off my lawn. So maybe that's a good one. Here's another Warhound stratagem. It's called Scouting Run.
Speedy
1 point.
dogs.
Speedy dogs. Fast dogs.
Greyhounds?
Turbo
Ooh.
dogs.
Greyhounds works pretty good, too. It's got hound in there.
It's classy. It's classy.
Let us know what you think, listeners.
Yeah.
We're going to get a dictionary of Warhound,
Slang puns.
Urban Dictionary Warhound
Know your
stuff.
dogs.
Yep. So we ought to do. We ought to have a poll at the end for which Warhound pun was best.
Or worse.
Or worse. There are no winners. All right, so the next stratagem here is Scouting Run. It is a single point stratagem. Play this stratagem after both players have deployed, but before rolling to determine who is first player. A Titan from this Crusade Legion with a scale of 6 or lower may immediately make a move. The Titan cannot declare power to locomotors or power to stabilizers during this move, and cannot move more than 6 inches. This stratagem can be purchased multiple times. So it's definitely another Warhound stratagem, because they're small enough to use it right now. And looking at it at first, you think, well, you can't move more than 6 inches, so really, is it worth it that much? But note that there's nothing that says that you cannot take Scouting Run several times and use it on the same Titan several times.
All right, time to make sure you're right on that. But yeah, unless there is some specific rule that I don't remember.
But it does
where
say
you
cannot move more than 6 inches.
no, during this move and cannot be moved more than 6 inches.
And cannot.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think you could just, spend
That
5 stratagem points to buy that stratagem 5
Yeah,
times.
Theoretically, you play Scouting Run, you move the Titan 6 inches, its move is done,
Then you do it again.
then you do it again.
Yeah. Which could be interesting if you're playing something like Precious Cargo. You could Scouting Run your Warhound up to the cargo, pick it up on its first activation, and then just hightail it out of there.
Yeah, I still think you can only do it once, now that I'm looking at it again. It says the Titan cannot declare power to locomotors or power to stabilizers during this move, and cannot move more than 6 inches. I think it's that last part that gets you, but I know what you're saying now. It might be just encompassing for that stratagem action, but I think it's kind of...
Like, I was leaning towards Steven's interpretation, and then he said that about picking up people, and when... But, Steven, this means that if you're playing the scenario where all you have to do is get a Titan to the other side of the board, right? Say I have 6 stratagem points, because, we're playing a big game, the other guy's got a Legio, maybe he's Legio brought a buddy. I take Scouting Run 6 times. I give it to a Titan, my Warhound. I put the thing on the Warhound. I proceed to go off the table before the start of the first movement phase.
Yeah, but it's a 4-foot table. Can you clear 48 inches with it? I mean, I guess in theory, if you have enough stratagem points to do it, you could do that. But that seems ungentlemanly.
I mean, certainly ungentlemanly. Let's see. So theoretically, because I think 6 stratagem is kind of the upper limit for a game, you would be able to get that Titan 42 inches across the table, presuming you have the standard 6-inch deployment zone. But also, you can have different deployment zones. That Titan might start at the midline.
That's true.
And at that point, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I hope you put down terrain well enough that you...
But it can still turn.
Yeah, it can still turn, but it's still not. It's not as speedy as it could be, but it is still speedy. Don't be that guy. Don't scouting run your Titan off the table.
I would at this point argue against being able to use it more than once, just because of the dumbness.
At least on the same Titan.
Yeah, use it more than once, absolutely, but not on the same Titan. Though this would be a fun one if they had changed it to just at the start of any stratagem phase.
Oof. Nah, that'd be too much. Whole free move?
It'd be fun.
Well, tell us what you think, listeners. Use it more than once on one Titan, or limited to one Titan per use?
Yeah.
We know you'll make the right decision.
We know you will.
Don't be that guy. We'll find you.
We'll find you. Yeah, that's right. Hunt you down.
Steven will lock you in a cage full of crickets.
You don't want to go in there. It's a bad time. To this day, he still laughs out of context a lot. It's fine. I'm sure he's okay.
All right, awesome.
Moving along. Power Reserves, a 1-point stratagem. Play this stratagem when a friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio pushes their reactor before rolling the reactor die. Do not roll the die. The result is treated as if a blank face was rolled. This stratagem can be purchased multiple times, but a Titan can only be the target of the stratagem once per round. Now, that's real interesting.
I think it's cool.
And I like it a lot, especially for 1 point, right?
Yeah.
Especially for, Warhounds in particular, but really anybody, right? If you're hovering there right before the orange or right before the red, and you go, man, I should really push the reactor now, but I don't want to blow myself up.
Because you could always roll that double.
It's a good, safe, cheap
and I have
stratagem.
Yeah, it's a real nice little insurance policy, especially for hound-heavy players. There's a lot of stuff in here that benefits hounds, really. I think hounds have probably come out the best with DIY Legion rules.
I don't know. There's some fun stuff later on that really aims at the big boys.
Yeah.
So
there's not much to say about it, but it is real good.
No, it's real good. It's real simple. You think you're going to be real hot? Go blank.
Turns out you're not. Yep. When you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not.
not while you have power reserves. Moving on to Reactor Surge for 1 stratagem point. Play this stratagem when a friendly Titan from this Crusade Legio pushes their reactor before rolling the reactor die. For the remainder of the phase, the result subsequently rolled on the reactor die applies to any attempt to push the reactor. Ergo, if a Titan pushed their reactor after declaring power to locomotors and rolled a blank face, all subsequent attempts to push the Titan's reactor this phase would not increase the reactor level. If, after playing the stratagem, a machine spirit symbol is rolled, the stratagem is discarded and has no effect. The Titan must roll each time they push their reactor as normal.
That's real rough.
Yeah.
So now, take you Reactor Surge. Then play you Reactor Surge, and then play you Power Reserves. Do they stack?
Let's see. Yeah.
They both happen when you push the reactor before rolling the reactor die. So if that's the case, I think the mechanic means you choose in which one goes first, right?
Yeah.
Or is there
Yeah,
a limit
I think
to
generally
is there a
when-
limit to how many stratagems you can play at the same time?
No, you can.
Ooh, actually, that might be troublesome because you do alternate stratagems with your opponent, right?
Potentially?
Yeah, you can't play two in the same
you
the
have
same
to have-
strategy phase.
Yeah, like I play one and then my
I
opponent
mean, you
plays
can,
one.
but yeah, you can't double up unless you out-activate your opponent. That's the only way you could do it is if
well,
you.
if you spend more stratagems in your
I mean, your opponent could elect not to do anything that turn, or could already be out of stratagems.
that's true.
It takes a little bit of finagling to do it, but I think you could do it.
Look at us breaking the game over here.
No. We're the reason that DIY got rewritten in the first place.
I don't know. Would you rather take this over power reserves, though?
No, I would take both.
Yeah, you do both.
And then the very first time I pushed the I'm in the movement phase. I push the reactor.
Oh,
extra
wait a
move.
second. Nope, you can't do both.
Why not?
So you have to play one stratagem per activation, right? So you do either power reserves or reactor surge. You have to go through the whole process of deciding to push the reactor and then doing either reserves or surge. You go through that whole process, then it passes to your opponent or your opponent does nothing. Then you can do another activation to play the opposite. You
Actually,
can't do. I don't think you can do two stratagems per activation.
I think we've screwed up a little bit because neither of these stratagems are play at the beginning, right? They're play when you push.
Yeah.
And if say you had I don't know, two different varieties of mine, right? Which I think there are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like thermal and there's EMP.
Yeah. If an enemy Titan ends its move, right, which is when you can play mines,
Right.
could you not put both mines, like Earthshaker mines and
The thermal mines?
I'm trying to find another mine here, but you could theoretically play both those mines on them.
Huh. Yeah, that's true.
Although I
And
guess you
yeah,
would-
because it's not a strategy phase activation to play these.
Making me get the rule book out. Jeez.
Damn you.
Although I guess with the mines you would have to hit them, play both, and then resolve them individually.
Yeah, I really don't think you could stack them the way you're thinking. Because I see what you're trying to say. Use reactor surge, then throw in
Yes,
power
and then-
reserves to negate the die roll, and then just
Yeah,
go
to
willy-nilly.
automatically make a blank face.
First, that sounds
then-
really rude AF, but
I mean, you can only do it
does.
once.
per phase.
Once per phase.
I guess you can only buy reactor surge once.
Yep.
Yeah, you can only buy reactor surge once.
But you're going to surge your power reserves? That doesn't make any sense.
And it is too... Well,
You use up all your power reserves in one go, in theory.
Yeah. And honestly, if there was a 2-point stratagem that said, hey, play whenever you push the reactor, it's free and free for the rest of the turn, like, that would be great, but not mind-bogglingly so.
Yeah, reactor surge is really, really risky for using a whole stratagem point on. Because for one, you could just roll machine spirit and completely waste the stratagem.
1 in 6 chance.
And then for 2, you could accidentally roll a double, and now every time you want to push the reactor, it's double.
Yeah, so a third of the time, it's actively bad.
Yeah. And every other time, it's just basically negating the chance to roll a double in the future, but also negating the chance to roll something for free.
Yeah, like a third of the time, it's actively bad. Half the time, it's eh.
It's a solid 5.
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, and then you get that blank, and it's real good. I almost wish this was one you could do more than once. Because if I could spend like 3 points to do this 3 times as a like my Legio specific stratagem, right? I'm not taking one of the other remarkable things we've talked about and are going to talk about to do this. And if I could put 3 points into it, I might be more about it. But if the trick works, though, it works real well.
Yeah.
Yeah, my spider sense is still tingling on this one. It doesn't quite. I don't know. I had the basic rule book, but obviously things are kind of a jumble in here.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Probably there's.
You know what they say? If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
It's probably not for Chaos players.
No.
It's not 3.5. You deal with it.
Now I'm sad.
You should feel sad.
I never got to play those the heady days of 3.5, the Iron Warriors Basilisk list.
All right. We're gonna be here all night if we don't.
It's true.
Keep going on.
So that is it for the stratagems.
I also don't like the fact that if you roll a machine spirit, you basically lose that stratagem too.
Yeah, a third of the time, this stratagem is just straight bad.
It's terrible. Don't take it. Just take.
And you
power
still
reserves.
take machine spirit. Like you're still being machine spirited, and it costs a point of heat.
Yep.
So it doesn't even get you out of that.
Yep.
But well.
Damn shame.
Damn shame.
Yeah, now we're moving on to War Gear, which has my favorite thing in it. So once we get to it,
let's do it.
All right.
Yep. War Gear, like everything else, got a few extra fun things, and I don't think anything got dropped. Some things got War Chest got dropped. Okay, we'll get to that.
But War Chest is just steal things.
Yeah, War Chest is just the obligatory take something from another Legio. It is gone now, which is probably for the best.
Maybe.
I do miss my Strength 12 Power Fists on my Reavers, but such is life. Such is life. Is me? Am I okay? You know what? I'll do it. Fine. The first one is Ablative Ceramite Plating. Any of the Legio's Titans can be upgraded to have Ablative Ceramite Plating for 30 points. At the start of the battle, a Titan equipped with plating can choose either its body, legs, or head. The Titan ignores the bonus to the attacker's armor roll as a result of damage already inflicted on the chosen location as indicated on the command terminal. So it's a defensive one, no matter where you put it. Once the damage starts piling up, you get the +1 and eventually +2s to damage rolls. This negates that, so it actually keeps you relatively durable throughout the game.
Yeah, I like this one on the body just because that's where you're most likely to start getting hit.
Mm-hmm.
And it does save you from like those low strength weapons, right? How many times have we had a Titan KO'd from a Warlord being like, all right, 10 missiles called shot to the body.
Yep.
Only need 1 and their strength, 7 right now.
Yep.
No.
Or even more embarrassing, Avenger Gatling cannons. When somebody throws the Titanicus equivalent of a las gun at you and you die.
Plus, also you have the campaign rule with this War Gear, where it'll always survive destruction of their Titan on a 2-up if you choose the head.
Which is so good.
Which is nice, yeah.
Having played some campaigns, it hurts so bad to lose good Titan crew. So yeah, that's a solid get.
Yeah, and you would think, taking extra plating isn't necessarily that great in a campaign Like, it's not necessarily worth giving up one of your 4 things to keep yourself alive through a campaign, but it totally is.
Yeah, for like this is better in campaigns than it is in one-offs. Because that 2-up is huge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So next on the list is Armored Spikes. Any of the Legio's Titans can be upgraded to have Armored Spikes for 20 points. A Titan with Armored Spikes increases the number of dice it generates when making a smash attack from D3 to D6. Also we should mention that Armored Spikes and Ceramic Plating are totally unchanged from their White Dwarf incarnation.
Yep.
And they didn't need to be changed. They're good enough as it is. I especially like Armored Spikes now because of the other things you can take, like Blood Fueled, which just makes your smash attacks, more likely to hit.
Yep.
Very exciting.
It's a nice combo.
Yep.
Yeah, it is nice when you need when you'd like to roll the dice and get something other than 1 or 2 hits.
Yep. Doesn't guarantee it, but
But when you roll that 6,
50% of the time you're going to hit the exact same number of times that you would if you were just rolling a D3. But like Jesse said, sometimes you'll just reach into the bag and pull out a 6.
yep, and you'll just kick an entire Night Banner to death. And that's always funny.
I've seen it done.
Yep. We here approve of Armored Spikes. So yeah, again, it's very, very straightforward one, not complicated. Pay some points, get more smash attacks. Life is good.
All right. Legio-specific Wargear Auxiliary Shield Capacitors. Any of the Legio's Titans can be upgraded to have Auxiliary Shield Capacitors for 20 points. Once per round, a Titan with this upgrade can declare voids to full without having to push the reactor. As soon as the Titan shields collapse, the benefits from this piece of Wargear are lost for the remainder of the battle, even if the Titan shields are later reignited.
So this is different.
It went down 10 points.
And it is less good. So the version 1 auxiliary shield capacitors were 30 points, and then you can declare voids to full without having to push the reactor, period, end of sentence. So what would happen is you'd take your fire on your Warhound, you'd declare voids to full, and you'd just deal with it and be fine, right? Like, it was impossible, like damn near impossible to get through that 3-up void shield save.
Yeah, especially in a squadron with merged shields. Ugh.
Or a warlord that had it, and you're just like, oh, fuck my life.
Yep.
These,
Guess I'll just die.
yeah, and it didn't matter, right? Oh, it's a Bellicosa. No one is ever gonna, go voids to full when they're at 4-up shields and a Bellicosa's coming in. They'll just deal with it, unless you do it for free, which you could do for forever, so why not?
Yeah. You're basically just
version,
re-rolling ones on your shields forever.
Yeah. This version, though, it's only once per round. So you really got to pick and choose. Because, there's obvious ones, right? That warlord just dumped 10 missiles into you. All right, yeah, voids to full. But if you're at a 4-up and you take like a laser that does like 1 hit, do I want to do that? Do you want to do that? Yeah, it's still good. It's still definitely worth the 20 points, but it's no longer the sort of must take. Like, I feel like auxiliary shield capacitors, kind of like Elite Magos in version 1, were like the must take, obvious. And then, of course, just like the other one, you lose your shields and it's gone forever. But it ain't bad, and it'll get you out of at least one tight spot.
Well, speaking of getting out of tight spots, it's everybody's favorite, unless you're on the receiving end, blind missiles.
Blind missiles.
You know them. Excellent.
There. Just for
Perfect.
you, Stephen.
Any of the Legio's Titans armed with either Apocalypse missile launchers or an Apocalypse missile launcher. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you imagine having a Warlord Titan and this was its war horn?
Jesse, I absolutely believe that is your Titan's war horns.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Continue on, Stephen. I apologize.
Well, no, now we gotta go down this rabbit hole. All right. So statistically, there's been over 40,000 years of history as of the 41st millennium, right? Which means that all kinds of little snippets of media have a decent chance of having been survived, or of having survived to a point that their origins are no longer understood. They just know that they are.
I'm sure that MP3 is stuck in some time capsule that NASA shot off at some point somewhere.
Right. It landed on some Forge world. They opened it up and was like, Archaeotech, this is the hymn of the Omnissiah. And that's somebody's war horn. You know, somewhere out there, there's a Imperial Guard regiment that marches off to war to the Super Mario theme song.
Just
Man,
Yep.
I'm sorry. Continue on, Stephen.
You brought this on yourself.
I did, and I enjoy it.
Blind
No
missiles.
regrets.
Okay, so, again, any of the Legio's Titans armed with either Apocalypse missile launchers or an Apocalypse missile launcher, so really just Warlords and Reavers, can be upgraded to have blind missiles for 20 points. It's the same cost as their first edition incarnation. Each of the Titan's weapons must be upgraded separately. That's interesting. I smell rockets on arms on the wind.
I mean, there is that Reaver Warlord in-betweener that we're supposed to get.
Yep. So, once per game, a Titan armed with blind missiles may fire a blind salvo with its Apocalypse missile launchers rather than firing them normally. Take the 5-inch blast marker, that's the big one, and put it anywhere within range and firing arc of the missile launchers. They do not need line of sight. This marker remains in place until the end of the round and blocks line of sight through it. Oh boy. This is a free 5-inch circle of no, you can't see me.
It's so rude.
Yeah, it's it's especially good on Reavers, which have 360 arc and don't need line of sight to fire their missiles. So it's just no matter where on the board it is, if there's a tight spot and you don't want someone to see you, have one of your Reavers just like pop off a smoke rocket, and boop, there it is.
Or if you want to dick that enemy Warlord, just drop smoke on it.
Oh boy,
Like, has it declared first fire, but you activate first? Oops.
Yep, smoke.
Straight up block. Yeah, put it right in front of them.
Yep, I've done it many a time. It's real unpleasant. Because you can bait them too, right? You can run out with your Warhounds into the middle of no man's land. 3 Reavers will turn to look at them and go, aha, murdering those sons of bitches. And then you just cover them in smoke. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, see, he knows that this is possible because he's done it.
I have. And I make no apologies for it. Get good.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. This one is also unchanged from the old version, should say.
Which is really a shame. It should have gone up in points, considering that it's also a stratagem now. But what do I know?
You can get wild. You can get wild with it. But also, you can combine it with Blistering March and just be hilarious about it.
Yep, so that's what I'm actually going to do with my Metallica, is I'm going to take Blistering March as one of my stratagems. All of my Reavers in my Corsair Maniple will have rockets. Turn 1, full march up the board, Blistering March, blind rockets on everybody, so that you can't see me while I get closer and crack my big giant robot knuckles.
Oh, no.
Yep.
And then everybody dies.
And then everybody dies, including me, because that's part of the fun.
All right. On to Crusade banners. Any of the Legio's Titans can be upgraded to have Crusade banners for 15 points. Friendly Knight banners with at least one model within 6 inches of a Titan with this upgrade cannot be shaken for any reason.
That's handy. Having your Knight banners shaken sucks.
Yeah.
It's down 6 inches from what it used to be. In the first edition, it was 12 inches.
No, it's actually a little better, I think.
Yeah.
So this new version is 6 inches. Any Knight banner with at least one model within 6 inches of a Titan. The other one is friendly Knight banners within 12 inches of a Titan.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd have to have the whole banner within 12 to get
this time you can daisy chain into that sweet, sweet land of milk and honey.
Or at the very least, not get yourself bellicosidal to hell.
True.
Or quaked, for that matter.
Or quaked, God almighty.
Yep. It is nice.
Yep. I jumped ahead,
it's not
Austin. My bad.
That's all right. We love you anyway.
Oh, thanks.
So the next one is macro magazines. And this is hilarious. Any weapon with the rapid trait equipped by a Titan from this Legio can be upgraded to have macro magazines for 30 points, so long as the Titan does not already have an upgrade affecting that weapon. Each weapon with the rapid trait a Titan is armed with must be upgraded separately. Increase the dice value on the weapon by 2, and then add 2 to the result when rolling on the catastrophic damage table for a Titan with macro magazines. This effect is cumulative, so if you've got a Warhound with 2 Mega Bolters that you've upgraded to both have macro magazines, you would add +4 to the result, and it's going to go boom.
My God.
This, I believe, is unmessed with.
Yeah, looks like the point value stayed the same. They kind of just added a little bit of clarification into it. So.
Yeah, like the first one, it's a little fuzzy, rather whether you can do it to more than one weapon on the same Titan. And then it doesn't say if that would add +2 for each weapon or +4 or whatever. So it's a nice clarification. I do not recommend this one if you're about to play a campaign with your Titans.
Yeah, you don't want those weapons exploding.
Because crew casualties will be high. Dave learned that to his sorrow when we were playing our Adepticon campaign. I know we played a campaign to prepare for Adepticon, and then sadness had happened. But anyway, we were doing that, and he had macro magazines on all his hounds, and they just went up like friggin' Roman candles. But on the other hand, when they were shooting at me, it was horrific.
Yeah, the extra shots on Mega Bolters are a little nuts. And everybody can take Mega Bolters, so it's versatile.
Everybody can take some sort of rapid, right?
Yeah. Well,
In some form or another.
this next one... Wait, hang on, I'm in the wrong book. There we go. Okay. I got mixed up between White Dwarf and Defense of Ryza. Yeah, the next one is drastically changed. It's multiple warhead launchers. Now, originally, multiple warhead launchers was an upgrade for Apocalypse missile launchers that reduced the strength of the weapon to 3, but tripled the dice value. So Warlords were throwing out 30 rockets, and Reavers were throwing out 15. But you'll notice that strength 3 doesn't do a whole lot, and it can't even hurt shields. So pretty much the only way to make it work was to pair it with War Master's Beneficence to bump up the strength back to 4 so that it could, actually do things. Which, kind of bad for a one-use weapon, especially if it's going to use up half of your options to do so. So, the new and improved multiple warhead launchers. Any of the Legio's Titans armed with Apocalypse missile launchers or an Apocalypse missile launcher can be upgraded to have multiple warhead launchers for 20 points, which is the same cost as it was in First Edition, so long as that Titan does not already have an upgrade affecting the weapon. Each of the Titan's weapons must be upgraded separately. Any Apocalypse missile launcher equipped with this upgrade adds 5 to their dice value and gains the Rapid and Limited 2 traits. A Titan can be upgraded with multiple warhead launchers and autoloaders. However, the base cost of the weapon includes the 20 points, which is applied before determining the cost of the autoloaders. So, you're throwing an extra 5 dice. You gain the Rapid trait, so every 6 generates another hit. Not bad odds now. The only downside is that it can only be fired twice. And you'll note that it says that it doesn't have what some of these other missile upgrades have, which is may elect to fire it this way or fire normally.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Once you've used the 2 shots for multiple warhead launchers, it's done. You have no more rockets.
You can't fall back to regular APOC missiles.
But otherwise, it's a very, very strong change. Those will strip shields off of just about anything.
And so I'm going to skip ahead to autoloaders because this is an important thing to talk about when we're discussing multiple warhead launchers. So autoloaders, any Titan that is equipped with a limited carapace weapon can take autoloaders for a cost equal to the base cost of the weapon plus 5 points. Each of the Titan's weapons must be upgraded separately. A weapon equipped with autoloaders increases the X value by 1. This upgrade can be bought multiple times for the same weapon, increasing the cost to take autoloaders by plus 10 points for each additional purchase. I.e., a Reaver with Warp Missile could be upgraded twice, which goes from limited 1 to limited 3 at a cost of 50 points. 15 points for the first upgrade and 25 points for the second. Obviously, that's real good because suddenly you can start flinging Warp Missiles at everybody, even though it becomes a little pricey.
It does get pricey quick.
Yeah, but you can also do this to the multiple warhead launchers and get a little more bang for
mileage
your buck.
out of them.
Yeah, because honestly, for 3, just doing it once to get 3 shots with them, I think makes it very, very nasty. Because by that point, like, the enemy could be under your minimum range, or he doesn't have shields anyway. So you're losing some of the goodness of, hey, that guy only needs one more hit to blow him up, and I'll fire my missiles because I'm getting plus 3 damage, and that might do it. But yeah, you're gonna do like 13 hits with a ostensibly 10-shot missile launcher with your warlords, right? Like,
so if you wanted to go to limited 3 with it, let's see, that's going to cost you.
Yeah, I don't have the points for the carapace missile handy. I can get it though.
20 points. Base cost of weapon includes the 20 points, which is applied before determining the cost of the autoloaders. So I guess it would be another. I don't know.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's not a cheap upgrade.
Did we do the math on it?
It's expensive. That's what we determined.
The Reaver's not bad though.
No, the Reaver can do it quite nicely.
10 points for the Reaver to do it? Well, 15, I guess.
Yeah, it's important here to note that multiple warhead launchers, there's a couple of other missile launcher
I think
upgrades.
It would be 25 extra points to get up to a limited 3. If I'm reading that right.
Rockets.
So that's 45 points if you want a limited 3 warhead launchers.
That's not the end of the world. And it'll make so many things. Yeah, 15 points for the Apocalypse Missile Launcher. So it's 20, 25. So yeah, 40 points for limited 3. Not the end of the world. We might see a couple of those. But of course, that is both of your war gear selections to do.
Yeah. But anyway, we got anything more to talk about multiple warhead launchers?
There's a couple of other rocket upgrades in the book. So it's important to note that multiple warhead launchers cannot be taken with any of them except for autoloaders.
Yes. Yes. And we'll get there because they're real good too. But yeah, moving on.
Plasma rifling. Any of the Legio's Titans can be upgraded to have plasma rifling for 15 points per Titan. When firing a weapon with the word plasma or laser in its name, i.e. plasma blast gun, paired laser blasters, etc., the Titan can push its reactor to increase both the short range and long range of the weapon by 6 inches.
It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, and it's got a little points reduction as well.
Yeah, especially since it's going to heat you up. You know, that's nice that it has that. This is what I had in the original Remember the Titans thing for Legio Praesagius. And it is nice to be able to stack like an extra 12 inches of threat range onto a laser blaster.
Mm-hmm.
Allows you to get some good shield bane hits in ahead of time. If you want to be risky, you can put it on a plasma blast gun and just fling maximal shots across the table.
And you know I would.
Ranging Auspexes. Any of the Legio's Titans can be upgraded to have Ranging Auspexes for 10 points per Titan. In the combat phase, a Titan equipped with Ranging Auspexes can pre-measure the range and check weapon arcs between itself and potential targets before selecting a target.
Yeah, if you're one of those guys that are like, oh, pre-measuring, it is the way and the truth and the light, this is the one for you, and you pay for it by not taking awesomeness.
Yep.
But for 10 points, it's essentially a rounding error in any given list. So,
Sure.
You're not actually wasting points on it. You're just wasting the ability to take other cool stuff. And I have no further comments on the subject because not being able to pre-measure is one of the marks of a gentleman's game.
That's true. Ranging aspects costs 10 points. It takes up a slot of war gear. But you know what's free? Getting good.
Steven has now offended everyone possible on this chat. And
May as well just swing for the fences.
in for a penny, end for a pound. I look forward to
right.
hearing you speak at the next. Well, we won't go there. Reactor fetters, Legio-specific war gear. Any of the Legio's Titans can be upgraded to have reactor fetters for 25 points. A Titan with reactor fetters may vent plasma in the damage control phase on a repair die roll of 3-up rather than 4-up. However, it may not voluntarily push its reactor more than once in each phase. This is, word for word, just like ranging aspects is before it, the version 1 version of this rule. I like it a lot. You could, and it didn't need to be changed. In version 1, it could be broken when combined with things like auxilia shield capacitors, because you just pushed all the time and didn't care how hot you got because you were venting on a 3-up and were re-rolling shields. It was dumb. But this is a nice one. Like, it costs a little bit of points, and there have been many times when I have rolled a friggin' nothing but 3s, desperately needing to vent heat off some poor warhound that subsequently blew itself to its composite atoms. So I'm pro reactor fetters.
Yeah, I don't see how... I mean, I guess I can see how you could get real hot even if you have reactor fetters, because you can only push once per phase. But I guess if you have a really small reactor track to begin with, like a warhound...
Yeah, any pushing.
It's useful.
Yeah, you can go from fine to uncomfortable with one bad push-it roll off a warhound.
Although I guess it can make, for bigger titans like Reavers and Warlords, I guess it can make draining weapons and maximal weapons more attractive.
Yep.
Because you don't have to push to fire those, you just have to roll the reactor die.
And also, foreshadowing, there are things that can get you hot even if you don't wish it.
Dun dun dun!
Da-da-da-da.
Yep. We've already gone over autoloaders, thanks to Austin. Jumping out of sequence there.
Well,
It
you
was
skipped
necessary.
secondary shield generators, you reprobate.
It's anarchy! Oh, you know I can't read.
Not
Secondary
English anyway,
shi-
apparently. Jeez.
Secondary shield generators. Any of the Titans, this is a new one, by the way. I think everything that we're going with after reactor fetters is brand new. So, secondary shield generators. Any of the Legio's Titans may be upgraded with secondary shield generators for 25 points. Once per game, when a Titan with this upgrade has a void shield level of X and is chosen as the target of a weapon attack, it may engage the secondary shield generators. This must be done before any dice are rolled. Immediately increase the Titan's void shield level by D3 and the Titan's reactor level by the same amount. I.e., if a 2 is rolled, the Titan's void shield level moves along the track by 2, and the reactor level moves along the track by 2. A Titan cannot use their emergency shield generators if they are suffering from a void shield generator burnout critical damage effect. Austin, why don't you tell me a little bit about how secondary shield generators worked for you?
So, I love them, but they are, yay, a cruel mistress. So my old Legio did have the old Auxilia shield capacitors. And when the new book came out and I was looking to try and, recreate that Legio, I thought that secondary shield generators was sort of more fluffy for what I was going for. Because my thought was they're a Warhound heavy Legion, and they will do everything they can to keep the Warhounds active. And it just seemed like having a, smaller secondary shield generator on the thing that they could flip on at need made more sense in a Warhound than a whole bunch of auxiliary shield capacitors, presumably taking up space, a bunch of extra cabling, I don't know. So I went with secondary shield generators. It is real dangerous. So the first time it happened, my shields go down on a Warhound, and Steven is about to shoot at me with, was it a volcano cannon? It was something big
maybe.
and unpleasant. And normally when a shieldless Warhound is shot by something big and unpleasant, it tends to die. So I thought to myself, Austin, now is the time to spark those secondary shield generators. You don't have any heat. Oh, I think I had a point of heat. But you know what? You roll a 1, your shields will collapse again, but you've got that extra little bip to survive this punishment that's about to come down. I rolled a 3 and got 3 shields and immediately redlined my Warhound. To be fair, I survived the subsequent fire. And actually, I think I had a shield left. So that's great in and of itself, right? Like, in theory, these things have worked perfectly because not only have they resparked my voids for free, except for some heat, I wasn't fishing for 6s, but they saved me a bunch of damage from a weapon that just was going to murder me. Unfortunately, those of you that run Warhounds know that when your Warhound is in the red, that means that it's death. You can see it on the horizon.
It's just right there, the next turn.
Yeah, right there. And that is exactly what happened. It nuked itself. Did it again. Nuked itself. I think I lost 2 of my 3 Warhounds from heat-related atrocities brought on by secondary shield generators. However, I stand by them. Just a little unlucky. And I think, honestly, this is going to be better for the bigger engines that can afford that unlucky 3. And, if my Warlord shields are down, I will trade 3 heat 9 times out of 10 to get 3 shields back. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, sniper Warlords generally aren't pushing their reactors except to fire bellicoses. So they're generally ice cold even when their shields are in shreds.
Yeah, and even if you are in the orange, like put a Warlord into the orange, a strength 9 or 10 hit to the body is nowhere near as bad as it is on a Warhound, right? Like, it just isn't. Oh, I should point out that the third Warhound that I did secondary shield generators, that only bumped it into the orange, but I rolled Void Shield Collapse when it came that time. So I didn't keep my shields for long.
Life is hard.
But, like, that's kind of what I want, right? Like, it's obviously not an OP thing to have. And what I also really like about it is that it's not automatic, right? It's not an automatic kick-in. So if your shields go down and your Titan is fine, and for some dumb reason somebody fires a bunch of missiles at you, you can go, well, that's not going to do any real damage. All right. Or, somebody shoots you with laser blasters and you're like, you know what? That'll hurt, but it's not the end of the world. I'm a little hot. I don't want to risk it. I'll allow it. And then, later on, when those laser blasters do 2 devastating hits to your body, you can go, you know what? The next time I get shot at, I will flick the switch and roll them dice. But yeah, I like it a lot. 25 points, can't beat it.
Okay, now we're skipping autoloaders, since we've done it now.
Now we're skipping autoloaders.
Hooray!
And we're doing macro charges.
Yep, this next one's called macro charges. It's for those of you who want to play Legio Mordax, but don't want to play Legio Mordax. So a macro charge can be bought for any Legio Titan with a 3-inch blast weapon. You can equip it with a macro charge for 20 points, and so long as that Titan does not already have an upgrade affecting the weapon, the small blast becomes a large blast. Very shiny. So, like, your Reaver can pretend that it has a Bellicosa.
And increase its strength value by 1.
And increases the strength value by 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgot about that.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. When a weapon equipped with macro charges detonates, the strength of any hit taken is increased by 2. Ouch.
Which is unfortunate, I must admit, but I don't care. Because generally speaking, if you've hit my already disabled weapon, you were aiming for something much more valuable, and I'll take the explosion. I'm pretty uncaring about damage to already hurt weapons, and it makes your Melta's strength 12.
Oof. Strength 12 with fusion and with a 5-inch blast.
Or an 11-inch or a strength 11 plasma magnifier.
Yep.
Now, there is a downside here, and that is you must fire it at the 5-inch blast. You can't decide to, we'll just do the 3-inch and the regular strength for this one. So you do run a higher risk of shooting yourself if you fire it real close and get unlucky. But, yeah, I ran this one playing Steven, along with the secondary shield generators. What else did I take? I don't know. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun the one time I used it, just because who doesn't like Warhounds being able to throw 5-inch blasts everywhere?
Me. I don't like it. You killed my Princeps Senioris.
Oh, blew
on turn 2.
Straight to hell.
Yeah, it was real rough.
Back to all his gods in his composite atoms in presumably a Ziploc baggie because they're airtight. Yeah, so next on the list is tracking gyroscopes. Any Titan from this Legio may be equipped with tracking gyroscopes for 10 points. A Titan with this upgrade changes the fire arc of their carapace weapons to include the entire front arc of the Titan. So this is for pretty much your warlords, right? They don't turn so good, and they have a lot of those corridor arc weapons. And also, you'll notice that this isn't an upgrade for a specific weapon. So you can have this on a warlord whose carapace missile launchers are upgraded with other things, and it's kosher.
Mm-hmm. Now, someone will have to tell me, because I don't have one for myself, but does the Warbringer have a corridor arc on its Quake Cannon and its Bellicosa? I think it does.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I want to say it does, which would mean that this is beneficial for more than just warlords. It's nice to have that extra little bit of swivel on your, thing, your gun.
The Quake Cannon is a corridor arc.
Bam! Yep.
There it is. That's so good.
Yeah. Especially, because I'm sure, with some of those maniples where you have a Warbringer sitting in back and you got Reavers or Warhounds up in the front, spotting for it, it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to constantly move it around to get where you're trying to shoot.
Is also corridor.
Correct.
Yep. So this is useful for both warlords and Warbringers.
It's gonna hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that because, like you said, like that.
Good call.
That corridor arc will screw you a lot of times when you think you're in arc and then you turn out to be just out.
Yep.
And there is no pre-measuring, so you got to take it on faith that they're in there.
Got to trust your weapons, Maserati.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
And
and 10 points as a steal.
Yeah, and having a whole 45 degrees like that really makes the Titan so much more lethal. Because the further out the target is, the more likely it is to be within that arc.
Yep. It makes first fire a lot more doable, right?
Yep. Yeah, I was a little iffy on this one until we started talking through it, and I'm like, wait a second, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're somebody that likes those big, heavy warlord maniples, right?
And I do.
If you're just running, an Axiom maniple, it's only going to affect your one Titan, then maybe not. But if you're like Steven and love the big boys...
Give each one of them a couple of gyroscopes, and then they can cover the whole field with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's really good.
Yep. If you think that I'm not ready to finally hit those goddamn warhounds...
And if you want to hit those goddamn warhounds, Steven, what sort of missiles do you want to hit them with?
Oh, yeah, we're going to skip ahead. No, we're not skipping ahead. Sorry. We'll get to it.
I segued you perfectly.
No, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. It's my favorite thing in the book. Here we go. We're doing it. Diabetic warheads.
No, we were talking fusion missiles.
No,
God
I don't
damn
care
it.
about those. I don't care about those.
We're
These
all
are my
over the
favorite.
place.
I'm going to do it.
Fine.
Diabetic.
Yeah, you're not like Wilford Brimley. Not that kind of diabetic.
Rest in peace, Wilfred.
It's actually diabatic. It's supposed to be like Diablo, Diabolist.
Diabetic?
Anyway. Diabetic?
We can pronounce it like Englishmen, right?
Why would we do that? Anyway.
Diabetic.
So,
Vitamins.
this is my favorite thing in the book. This is the kind of weapon that I've been wanting for a long time. And really, when Legio Infernus's rules came out, this is the one thing that I wished was in it that wasn't. But here we go. Any Titan from this Legio armed with Apocalypse missile launchers or paired Apocalypse missile launchers may take diabatic warheads for 15 points, which is a steal. Each of the Titan's weapons must be upgraded separately. When firing a weapon equipped with diabatic warheads, the player can choose to use its normal profile or firing using the special warheads. If they do the latter, reduce the weapon's strength value to 1. And you're like, wait a minute, what? But if an attack made with these warheads scores at least 3 hits, regardless of whether or not the Void Shield saves are passed, increase the target Titan's reactor status level by 1. If 8 or more hits are scored, increase the target's reactor status level by 2. Diabatic warheads have no additional effect on night banners beyond any damage they inflict.
Oof.
Yes, finally! I can choose whose dogs get hot.
Indeed. And I like that it's an either or, right? Unlike the multiple warhead launchers, you can fire regular ones if you just want to hurt somebody. Also, I should point out to listeners, because a lot of times people think that stuff that is less than strength 4 doesn't affect void shields. The actual wording of it is, if you're hit with something strength 3 or less, you automatically pass your void shield saves. So that's why it's got that wording in there, and why this is still good even though your voids are up and you're being hit by a strength 1 weapon.
Yeah. Oh boy. So you're thinking, so these are warheads that are useful for Corsair maniples, for the Exterminus maniple, Axiom, Fortis, anything where you can bring a lot of Apocalypse launchers and just dump rockets onto one target at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing here that says that you cannot use these to push a target past the red.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying late term game when you just push a war.
When I've accidentally redlined my hot dog, you can just nuke it right there before it can run over to you.
Uh-huh. Yep. Ask not for whom the dogs get hot. They get hot for thee.
And we're right back to bad Warhound puns. But if you combine these with tracking gyroscopes, right, just the amount of nasty you can do, right? So let's say you've got 3 warlords, tracking gyroscopes, diabetic warheads. I think 4 or 5 points of heat is not out of the realm of possibility, right? Because they're all, first turn of the game. You're at long range for the bonuses. You're probably hitting on 2s or 3s. You have 10 shots. You're scoring 3 hits. And it is not uncommon for me to score 8 or 9.
No.
That's
that's
definitely not out of the range
of
of possibility.
Yeah, so if you dump 4 heat, even on an enemy Reaver or Warlord, before they have a chance to do anything, that really changes the calculus of what your opponent can do with that Titan.
Mm-hmm. It's very much... This is, I think, very much the reason why you can't take any other upgrades with multiple warhead launchers.
Yeah. Because that would be as rude as it is possible to be. Almost. Because I have one that I like more than diabetic warheads, Stephen.
Okay, hit me.
Fusion missiles! Any Titan from this Legio armed with an Apocalypse missile launcher or paired Apocalypse missile launchers may take fusion missiles as an upgrade for 25 points. Each of the Titan's weapons must be upgraded separately. When firing a weapon equipped with fusion missiles, the player can choose to use the normal profile or the fusion missiles. If they do this, for the duration of the attack, the weapon gains the fusion trait and reduces its dice value to 3 if the original dice value is 8 or more, or 2 if the original dice value is 7 or less. So I think this is very much a Reaver thing, just because you're losing fewer shots than you would off of a Warlord. But this is amazing, because it is kind of a weapon of last resort, right? The missile launcher trying to do some damage on somebody. But say you've got you a shooty Reaver, or a punchy Reaver, right? And you're running up to another Reaver, and you punch it, and it's not dead, but it's a little hurt, but not to the point where, strength 4 is really going to do you much of a muchness, right? Maybe on a 6 you'll do a point of damage. Well, you say, all right then, I'm going to fire the fusion missiles. And it becomes strength 4 plus D10. And that just strikes me as real good. Yeah.
Now, this is what we were talking about by fueled by blood, or blood fueled earlier, is once you get up close and you're there, and now you can suddenly switch over to your weapon skill, even when firing guns, is now you just dump pinpoint fusion missiles into a target.
Yep, it's real rude. And also, it doesn't even need to be close, right? When you're dropping shields off a Titan, usually missiles are the first thing you fire. But if you've got sort of a pristine enemy Titan, and you have maybe a Melta cannon and a laser blaster and carapace missiles, which is a not uncommon loadout, if those Melta miss, you're kind of not doing a ton of damage, and you're unlikely to get your regular carapace missiles involved in the shooting at all because they're just never going to do anything. Fusion, however, bop, and it's half range, and half range on a missile, or I'm sorry, it's at short range. So anything within 30 inches, you're rolling that D10.
Yeah, it's real sweet. I like them.
It's a beautiful thing.
Suddenly, missiles are a huge threat.
Right? Which is great, because, it's something that everybody has, because it's stock for, the big kit Warhounds and for Reavers for a long time. You can now get ones with the laser blasters on top, whatever. But a lot of people, especially that bought into the game early, if you bought 4 Warlords off of the friggin' starter set box because you got 2 Grandmasters, you probably didn't buy a bunch of other carapace paired laser blaster Titans.
Yeah, probably.
But now you can have fun with them and get some nice heavy anti-armor stuff as well. Or have them stroke out from overheating.
Yeah, it happens. It's fine.
Pick your poison. They're both fun.
What do we got next? Gravitonic stabilizers. Ooh. Any Titan from this Legio may take gravitonic stabilizers for 10 points. If a Titan with this upgrade is hit with a weapon with the concussive and or quake trait that is not deflected by shields, roll a d6. On a 2-up, that Titan is unaffected by the concussive and or quake trait, although it still suffers any other damage effects. However, a Titan with this upgrade cannot declare power to locomotors. So this is just straight pulled from Legio Mordax. Inured to pain is their special rule, but it's basically this, word for word, with the exception of the 2-up. They automatically get it, and they don't have to pay for it. At least not with points. But not being able to push doesn't seem as big of a problem when you consider that you can put this on big Titans, Reavers, or Warlords, like in a Fortis Maniple, and just walk up the board and not have to worry about ever being slowed down.
Or you could combine it with hunting motives and not really mind that you can't push power to locomotors.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so do you have any more thoughts on gravitonic stabilizers?
Not particularly.
No. I do like it, especially to deny the quake, because God, getting quaked sucks.
Yeah, especially if you are super fast and you need all your speed.
Yeah, but I do think this is one, kind of like the multiple warhead launchers, that's a good twofer, right? Because it pairs really well with hunting motives, which is any Titan of this Legio, from this Legio of scale 6 or lower, may be equipped with hunting motives for plus 20 points. A Titan with this upgrade increases their default speed value by 2 during the movement phase, but may not declare power to stabilizers. So if you pair that with gravitic stabilizers, you don't care that you aren't being able to boost your speed as much, because that plus 2 speed value doesn't apply to your boosted speed, right? So if you're boosting a Warhound, suddenly you're only getting 1 extra inch of movement, and that's never going to be worth getting your Warhound hot. And they don't care too much about not being able to turn, because they already do 3 turns, so like, yeah, every once in a while I've needed all 5 turns because of some shenanigans. But I've also needed to not be quaked. And I would say I've needed to not be quaked more times than I've needed 5 turns. So for 30-point combo.
What I like about hunting motives is that it actually makes Warhounds a lot more heat efficient. Because with plus 2 inches to your regular movement, your default speed is now only 1 inch shorter than your boosted speed. So it doesn't really make pushing your reactor for 1 extra inch of speed all that worth it. And like you said, you don't often have to push your reactor for 5 whole turns. A 4th turn, maybe, but very rarely for 5. So you get to save a lot of your heat for your maximal weapons or your shields.
Yep. Or, I mean, it is only in the movement phase, right? So if you full strided, that's movement in the combat phase isn't going to have the plus 2 speed. So you might want to boost it then. And of course you wouldn't be able to with gravitonic stabilizers. But I feel the trade-off is worth it. And I mean, even individually, these are fairly good strats or war gear if you have, a certain way of playing your Legio. But yeah, together they just seem really fun. Speedy hounds that you can't stop. Unless you hit them with 6 diabetic warheads and just send them straight into meltdown. Which I know is going to happen to me. I know you're going to do it. You're not like, I can't even see your face and I can see it in your eyes.
For my next trick, I will transform your hot dog into a mushroom cloud.
Oh no.
That was
Make
worst
my hot
yet.
dog disappear.
That was the worst yet.
Shut up. There are no good puns.
All right, seismic auspex. Any Warbringer Nemesis Titan from this Legio can be upgraded for 5 times half the strength of the weapon. Yes, that's more math, guys. 5 times half the strength of the weapon, ergo a Volcano Cannon would be 30 points.
I really do appreciate them mathing that one out for me, though.
Yeah.
Like,
the weapon gains the Barrage trait and applies only a -1 modifier rather than a -2 modifier when making attacks at targets it does not have line of sight to. The Barrage trait can only be used if the Warbringer Nemesis Titan has not moved this turn voluntarily or involuntarily.
I really enjoy this one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And specifically affects Warbringer Titans. Most of these
Yeah.
are pretty generic, but this one really just for you.
Yeah, so like it's a little bit of a pain, just because there's not a whole lot of Warbringers that you can get in a maniple.
Right.
Like I think the max right now is 2 in a maniple.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe the Ruptura Maniple.
Yeah. So that is a bit of a bummer, but there's going to be more maniples. Like we're already up to an obscene amount of maniples. So I wouldn't be too put out over that. And even just if you're only taking it for your one Warbringer Nemesis, that's real good. Being able to bellicosa somebody you can't see, and again, you take tracking gyroscopes, you can't see that it's in your front arc, that's fantastic. Like, how many times have I hid behind a building with a hurt Warhound or Reaver trying to stay out of someone's line of sight, and they'll dump missiles on me, but that's kind of a crapshoot. But with a bellicosa, and only a -1 to hit instead of a -2, that's just real painful.
The times that you want to be in arc and range of a bellicosa is approximately none.
Yeah.
And with those tracking gyroscopes, you could tuck a warlord or a warbringer like ass into the corner and let that 45-degree arc pretty much carry you all the way across the table in terms of threat range.
And also, what do people like to do with their knights? They like to get real close to the enemy and jam them all up behind a building in preparation for that, pop out and annihilate somebody. What's a hard counter to that? A bellicosa that doesn't need line of sight and only takes a -1 to do it.
Yep.
Like, ruin your whole damn day.
It's pretty
And
nasty.
you know why they're called volcano cannons, right?
Because they make a foo.
No, because they can fire through a mountain range, and if that mountain is volcanic, it'll just erupt. Like, volcano
think that's
cannons
how it
can
works.
put a shot through a mountain. That's the original lore for them. I didn't make that up.
All right.
We'll allow it.
Yeah, so you're just shooting through buildings and finding all the tiny little knights hiding behind it.
Oh, tiny little knights.
Yeah. Sucks to be them.
Sucks to suck. So next up, Unguis Stabilizers. Any Titan from this Legio with a scale of 9 or greater may be equipped with Unguis Stabilizers for 20 points.
Did we skip hunting motives?
We talked about them already.
We talked about them with gravitic.
That's
gravitonic
right. That's right.
stabilizers.
I apologize. Yep. I'm sorry. Continuing.
It's all right. You can edit this later.
Nope. 2.5 hours. There's going to be some.
Jesus wept. There's so much good stuff here, but we are almost done.
That's true.
So
Bear with
Unguis
us just a little bit longer.
Stabilizers. You can take them for 20 points. When activated in the strategy phase, a Titan with this upgrade may deploy their stabilizers. If they do so, until the end of the round, they may be issued a first fire or split fire order without needing to make a command check. However, they may not make turns voluntarily or otherwise for the remainder of the round, which I don't really know why they... Oh, actually, no. That's still a bonus, right? Because first fire or split fire, you're not turning anyway because of the nature of your order. And then they just can't be knocked about by concussive or critical damage or whatever. Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
So that's just a net positive all the way around. And yeah, can't argue with that, right? You just hunker down with your stabilizers and blow things to shit.
And scale 9. That's only warlords, right?
No, Warbringers. Warbringers are scale 9.
Warbringer too.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yep. Real nice. Real nice. The very last one that we've got here, unless anyone has more thoughts on stabilizers.
Oh shoot, we did make it to the end.
Yep, we're here.
Yeah. Well, not really, because we still have, unless you did all the knight upgrade stuff with somebody else.
Nope. We'll probably save for Jason for that one.
Legio-specific war gear, the last one, Vox Screech. A Titan from this Legio may be equipped with a Vox Screech for 30 points. Once per game, when a Titan with this upgrade is activated during the movement phase, they may issue a Vox Screech. Any Titan within 6 inches of a Titan that issued a Vox Screech discards any orders that it had issued, unless that order was an emergency repair. This counts as the activating Titan's activation for that phase. Friendly Titans from this Legio are not affected by Vox Screech. I am not a huge fan.
It's way too short ranged.
I want to be, but I'm not.
Yeah, we had this conversation a while ago when I was trying to figure out what to do for one of my custom Legios. But Vox Screech just is not as good as Vox Blackout at all. It's once per game, it's 30 points. So, like, if you were going to do a Mandatus or a Venator Maniple, you're looking at 120 points for 4 Warhounds with Vox Screech.
And it only gets rid of your order, right? Like,
Yeah, but it doesn't get rid of Emergency Shutdown.
or emergency
Or,
repairs.
no,
yeah,
Emergency
and
Repairs.
That's
which
one
is
of
the
ones
one
really
you want to
wanna
get rid of.
Yeah. I mean, first fire sometimes, but if you're activating first, you already kind of have the jump on them. And if you're activating second, first fire has gone off. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to like it more. And they're like it has its utility.
And you sacrifice your movement to do it, which I'm not about at all.
Yeah, you sacrifice your movement. You sacrifice just another slot in your DIY Legio, right? That's the big one for me. If this was just a random stratagem anybody could take for, 2 strat, I'd be more about it. But yeah, not sold. Not sold.
Sorry, Vox Screech.
But I will say that our not sold responses have been limited to 2, maybe 3 things in the entire DIY, like, cornucopia.
Yeah, it's a real strong addition
And I feel
change.
like I had at least that many in the White Dwarf that I was just like, I don't see why anybody would ever take this.
Yep.
So yeah, it's all really, really good. Well, 9 out of 10, worth it every time.
Yeah. But that's the end of the new Crusade Legio rules.
Tell us what you think, what you like, what you don't like. Show us what your new Legios are going to be. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, show me your Legios.
Send us some rules.
We'll do a part 4 here in the near future. Again, thanks for everyone for sticking around and listening to us. Got any plugs, guys? Steven, Austin?
No, Austin plugged the Great Gaming Survey, last week, and he did it
Great
on Lost
Wargaming
Transmissions.
Survey. Yeah.
Yep, and we can do that again.
And I don't know if this one will this one be out by the end of August?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll probably push this out next week.
Yeah, so, the Great Wargaming Survey. Do it. I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. It's a survey. It's like 5 minutes. If you type in the Great War Games Survey 2020, it is any of those links on the first page of Google, which means you can't miss it because nobody goes on page 2 of Google.
If you have to go to page 2, you probably went too far.
Yeah, you done goofed. When you're there, you'll be taken to a button that you press that takes you to a Survey Monkey, I think, survey.
Do it on a desktop, too. Don't do it on mobile. It's a little rough on mobile.
And it's very simple. Yeah, do it on a desktop because it does make life easier. Yeah. And it asks you things like, how long have you been gaming? What scale games do you play? What types of games do you like to play? There is a section that is essentially, I like playing games about toy robots that murder the shit out of each other with volcano cannons and diabetic missiles.
Diabetes.
Some of those questions will make you sad. Like, how many times do you game regularly? Or how much money do you spend yearly on wargaming? Nobody wants to answer those questions right now. But if you do it, it's one that the industry looks at. They take an interest in the things that are said. So if you like Titanicus or 30K or Battlefleet Heresy or, some weird, Algonquin Wars in 54 millimeter, put it on there and somebody will see it and somebody might say, hey, a lot of people like this. We should put out more stuff for it. And that's just good for everybody. And you do get fun stuff. It's not models this year just for doing the survey. You get a discount to their website, which if you don't do historicals isn't huge. But you are automatically entered in drawings to win a whole bunch of fun stuff from rule sets to minis to all sorts of crazy things. So check it out. Take 5 minutes of your time. Let your voice be heard.
I guess I have 2 plugs, actually. One is the same as always. It's Battlefleet Heresy. Go check it out. It's on our website. You like flying spaceships? You like the heresy? We got you covered.
rr30k.com.
Do you want to be a hero in the sky?
Yeah. High adventure, higher pay, so on and so forth. Yep. The other thing that I would like to plug is Bender's Books and Comics. It is in Hampton, Virginia. Austin, myself, and our good buddy Zach went down there kind of on a whim and found a whole bunch of cool stuff. It's primarily a comic store, but they have a lot of used books, a lot of old toys and figurines and stuff like that.
It's not old, it's vintage.
It's vintage, yeah.
Vintage.
There's 2 cats there, if you like cats. There's some real cool stuff in their glass cases that you can ask the guy to just take a look at. If you're in the market for a old armor cast Phantom Titan, they have one.
At least at the time of this recording.
At least at the time of this recording, I don't imagine anyone has been into that tiny little closet in the back of their store hunting it down.
Or just a bunch of Eldar stuff.
Yeah, or if you're big on Eldar, High Elves, or Tau.
Forge World Eldar stuff out the wazoo.
So it's one of those places where you can find some of those once-in-a-lifetime deals that we hobbyists know crop up now and again. So again, that's Bender's Books and Cards. It is in Hampton, Virginia.
Very cool. And since we're talking about Titanicus, plug some podcasts before we leave. Be sure to check out the God Engine cast if you like to continue talking about Titans. Be sure to check that out. And Edge of Empire. Those guys are cool. Give them a listen.
Yeah, Edge of
Fun
Empire,
chaps
for sure.
over across the pond. That's what they say, I think.
I don't know.
Direct quote. That's how they describe themselves.
But yeah, other than that, I don't have any plugs today. So until next time, keep those dice rolling, and we'll see you again. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.